Alabama and Tennessee's syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national covering down on all the issues. And oh, yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to what we like to call Thankful Thursday. And man, do we have a sound effect for that one. Hit it, buddy.
You got to be more thankful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
We thank you so much for this bountiful harvest of Domino's, KFC, and the always delicious Taco Bell.
Have you said thank you once?
Thank you. I like it. All right. Thankful Thursday. JP's on the board. I'm thankful for you, just so you know.
Thankful for you.
Well, good.
I think we all got a lot to be thankful for this Thursday.
We do. We have a lot to be thankful for. And yesterday was a good day, passing the torch. Today and tomorrow are my last 2 days kind of manning the con here. It's my last 2 days in the captain's chair. But that being said, I'm pretty stoked about where it's headed. We got a lot of show laid on for you, though. Today's going to be a full slate. In order to be able to keep tomorrow kind of free, we're going to move JP on sports to today. So, yeah, halfway through hour number 2 today, JP on sports on a Thursday. Can you do it? I think you can. I'm thankful.
Yeah, I can.
All right.
You can do it any day.
That's true. It's sports.
Yeah.
All right. That's halfway through hour number 2, JP on sports. And then at the beginning of hour number 3, well, it's Thursday. You know what happens then? Butters and Lee. So Butters and Lee coming on beginning of hour number 3. And then there's still like a full slate of triple dipper. So hit it, man.
The Triple Dipper. 3 stories you've got to know.
That's right. The Triple Dipper, 3 stories, 3 themes, if you will, that you got to know as we run today's show. First out the gate, y'all, we got to talk about it. Shutdown Shinola, week number 4. Shutdown Shinola. Man, it is running deep in D.C. right now. I got some audio for you. I got some thoughts. Tensions are running high. We're starting to see the impact on society as a whole, not just people in the government's employment who are losing their paychecks. Not to minimize that. I'm just saying where everybody's starting to feel it now. All that to say, shutdown Shinola on what is about to be the longest shutdown in U.S. history. Number 1, Triple Dipper. Number 2, didn't get to it yesterday, plan to get to it today. Safe streets, blue cities. Safe streets, blue cities. Do those 2 things go together? Is that an oxymoron? I don't know. Anyway, safe streets and blue cities. We're going to talk about it to include, I'm kind of impressed with this, the DA of Baltimore, who is actually cracking down. All right, and then number 3 on the Triple Dipper, I'm just calling it Trump world. Y'all, I don't know if you saw what happened yesterday, but Trump is in the Far East right now and meeting with leaders from different, Pacific Rim countries. Had an amazing meeting, apparently, with Xi of China. What do we know about this? Is it actually playing out well? It appears to be. Great trade and lifting of tariffs. That's pretty interesting. We'll talk about that. Number 3 on the Triple Dipper, Trump world. That's where we are, baby. Trump world. All right, let me jump on into today's Right Side Way opening monologue. I'll just remind you guys, as always, that attorney Stan McDonald, Stan McDonald, partner at the law firm of Wilmer & Lee. He's a 30-year veteran in the practice of law in North Alabama. And listen, I'll tell you more about Stan in a few minutes, but he's a longtime conservative and daily sponsor of the Right Side Way monologue. All right, let me just start by saying we have never shied away from the culture wars. We talk about politics, certainly. We talk about economics. We talk about fiscal policy. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about defense. But we have also never shied away from the culture wars. A story broke yesterday that I look at and I think, why? So the story is that the New Jersey Education Association, which is the teachers union for the state of New Jersey, is preparing to host an event. Okay. You might think it would surely be about education, right? I mean, they are the New Jersey Education Association. Maybe it's to provide continuing ed for teachers, or maybe it's about best practices in a classroom instruction. Well, how about no to all the above? Because the New Jersey Teachers Union is hosting an event next month to, quote, celebrate the vibrant world of drag for public school teachers. Okay. It's billed as an event that will emphasize the need to, quote, ignite creativity in the classroom and show that drag is what education is all about. Look, I don't know what the Garden State's growing in its gardens, but somebody needs to take a step back from the gummies is what I'm saying. By the way, this is the same organization that just endorsed the Democrat Mickey Sherrill for governor. What's the point of this, by the way? I'll be honest with you, it's got nothing to do with education. Nothing at all. Or wait, or does it? I submit that it has everything to do with education when you consider that what it is they're trying to do is educate kids about their agendas. For the progressive left, it's always about the agenda. They'll justify any means to get their desired ends. And there was a time, by the way, not so long ago, when this kind of overt, over-the-top inserting of cartoonish and yet harmful characters into the lives of kids was not only deemed unacceptable, it was actually illegal. It's amazing how certain things have become acceptable and certain things have also fallen from acceptance. Culture has a way of shifting with the winds. It's not always a good thing. I mean, the fickle whims of culture should never be a measuring stick for what's right. If it were the left, they would have trashed the Constitution years ago, remember? I remember that both of my grandfathers, here we go. Here's my thing about what's fallen from grace. Both of my grandfathers were smokers for most of their lives, and both of them had strokes in their later years, and they quit smoking overnight. My maternal grandfather, he smoked Bel Airs. Remember them? Bel Airs. Packs came with a Raleigh Bel Air coupon. If you saved them up, you could buy some pretty cool stuff from the Raleigh Bel Air catalog. My paternal grandfather, he smoked filterless Camels. They were rough. Don't ask me how I know. I mean, it's not like I ever snuck out back and smoked one behind the house when I was 11 years old or something like that. Never happened. Or did it? Anyway, Granddaddy smoked those Camels regularly, but Granny made him sit out on the porch and not smoke them inside. But both brands marketed their wares to just the kind of men my grandfathers were. The Bel Airs that my granddad on my maternal side smoked, they were endorsed by movie tough guy Lee Marvin, but they had a sharp image and a progressive kind of futuristic logo, which was just right for my grandfather, who was an Army general, an engineer who worked on missiles and the original hydrogen bombs. Camels, on the other hand, they were tough, no-nonsense, filterless, kind of a working man smoke. Also fitting then for my other grandfather, who was a steel worker and grew up in a family in the hard-scrabble Depression-era South. See, marketing is everything. And I'm getting back to my point in a minute about things that are considered okay now that weren't okay before. But back then on cigarettes, marketing, it was everything. Cigarettes, like I said, no different than any other product trying to find a way to appeal to a broad audience in a competitive market. But in that vein, let's talk about this. In that vein of marketing, along came a suave and debonair dude. You know, the guy that every guy wanted to be like. He had all the ladies, all the cool factor, drove the best cars. He was like James Bond, the Marlboro Man, and Audie Murphy all rolled into one. He was also a cartoon character designed to sell cigarettes. His name was simply Joe the Camel. So Joe Camel was a branding mascot for Camel cigarettes, and he was first used in Europe in the mid-'70s, but he burst into the U.S. advertising scene in 1988. He immediately became one of the most recognized advertising images. At one point, the Journal of the American Medical Association conducted a study, found that Joe Camel was instantly recognizable by 91% of all children who participated in the study. That was more than Mickey Mouse. The same children associated Joe Camel with cigarettes. Within 3 years of Joe Camel becoming synonymous with Camel cigarettes, another study concluded that Camel's underage smokers had grown by nearly 38%. Well, in 1992, a San Francisco attorney filed suit against the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, the parent company of Camel, alleging that Camel was in fact targeting underage citizens with the sole intent of increasing their market share among teens. Within the text of the suit against the tobacco giant was the allegation that Reynolds Tobacco had grown their profits from underage smokers from $6 million to over $476 million in just 4 years. So Democrat California Congressman Henry Waxman, he actually pressed Congress to take action, which resulted in the Federal Trade Commission conducting a series of 3 separate investigations over several years, eventually resulting in a finding that R.J. Reynolds had unreasonably and knowingly targeted underage citizens. All through a cartoon character, right? But then the smoking gun actually emerged. In the mid-'90s, an older 1974 R.J. Reynolds internal marketing department presentation, internal, the very section that dealt with targeting young voters, 14 years old and up. They found the memo, and it talked about, quote, the growing importance of the young adult in the tobacco market, that this age group would represent 27% of their adult market by 1975. And it said that, quote, these are the smokers of tomorrow. Aha. So in 1997, R.J. Reynolds actually had to retire Joe the Camel. They went back to a more mundane historical image of a simple and more true-to-life representation of a real camel. So Joe the Camel actually outraged the authorities. Think about that. His influence on children was seen as dangerous. The intent in having such a likable cartoon mascot was simply to cultivate a strong first and early impression and to create what R.J. Reynolds' own study designated as the smokers of tomorrow. And that gets me back to drag queens now. Why would the teachers union be hosting a drag show and saying that drag is a part of education? Isn't it amazing? Don't you wish that the worst thing upon us these days was the idea of a cartoon camel just teaching kids to smoke? I find it deeply disturbing that in my lifetime, it was a lawyer and a congressman from California, no less, who saw fit to lead a charge against a major corporate entity because they felt the corporation was enticing kids, trying to lure them into a lifestyle, like literally grooming kids to be the next generation of smokers. Well, what do you think they're doing with drag queens? Because now we have drag queens performing at so-called family-friendly events. We're told that to question that is tantamount to domestic terrorism. Parents and concerned citizens who dare to question drag queen story hour and things like that, or complain or worse yet protest against the idea of men cross-dressing in hypersexualized women's clothing with exaggerated female characteristics. I mean, like literally lampooning and objectifying women, that somehow or another, when they dance provocatively while making lewd remarks, or that to oppose that distorted behavior is a gross affront to the rights of the gay community. Come on. What you're looking at is absolute enticement of children. That's what they want. Never mind the simple fact, a fact that requires very little effort to mentally assent to, by the way, that parents should always be wary of men who dress as women and dance and speak provocatively to children. I mean, why would you not? There's nothing normal or comfortable about any of that. And yet they come, often by invitation, to schools and libraries and community centers, and at the request even of the teachers union, to host drag queen shows. Has anyone ever asked, by the way, why the makeup is needed to read stories? I mean, if you're not really about the reading, just say so. But everyone knows they're doing it for the simple and clearly stated purpose of grooming the next generation. That's what they're doing. They're attempting to normalize abnormal and unhealthy behavior. How do I know this? Because they say so themselves. It's no different than finding that secret R.J. Reynolds internal memorandum where they said smokers of tomorrow. You can go to Drag Story Hour's website. It's actually on a website, Drag Story Hour website, and you can see the mission statement on their website. It says this. Here, I'm going to read it to you. It says, quote, storytellers use the art of drag to read books to kids in libraries, schools, and bookstores. Drag Queen Story Hour captures the imagination and the play of gender fluidity of childhood and gives kids glamorous, positive, and unabashedly queer role models. In spaces like this, kids are able to see and defy rigid gender restrictions and imagine a world where everyone can be their authentic selves. Okay, let me get that straight. They just said that their purpose is to be a role model, a queer role model for children. The concept of being a role model should be to encourage others to emulate behavior, right? To follow the example set by the role model. In short, the leadership of Drag Story Hour admits their sole purpose is to create the next generation of drag queens. Ask yourself this question. Why is that any different than Joe the Camel? And yet, my God, how I wish that Joe Camel was all we had to worry about. The teachers union in New Jersey is hosting a drag story, the whole drag show, just to try and prove that drag is a part of education. It's not. It's an absolute enticement. And I wonder, have we as a nation gone so far down the path of depravity and indifference that we don't see the irony in knowing that Joe the Camel is considered bad, but men dressing up as women performing sex acts in front of children is not? Joe the Camel. He's got nothing on drag queens. He's probably less harmful too if you get down to it. And that's a wrap for the Rightside Way. Yeah, I saw that story yesterday, and I was reminded of this Joe the Camel thing. I think I had talked about it once before, but it's mind-boggling. I mean, the nation was incensed that Joe the Camel was designed to target children with something considered unhealthy. And yet now we're talking about the teachers union trying to bring drag into schools. For what purpose? Oh, I guarantee it's the same thing, enticing people into a behavior. I'm just saying, it's out there. Take a stand, y'all. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We'll be right back. And you're not going to want to miss the latest edition of the Just Right podcast. We just put it in the can. Listen, we interviewed Ton Boyer, author of The Ground Kisser. One of the amazing stories she has, escaping communist Vietnam as a child, on a refugee boat filled with hundreds of people, intercepted by pirates, left adrift in the South China Sea, became a refugee, eventually found her way to the United States. She has a mission right now, basically to tell the world why America is the greatest place on the face of the earth, and two, to make sure Vietnam veterans know that they are loved and appreciated. Ton Boyer, you are not going to want to miss this conversation. Just Right podcast coming up. Yeah, let's do a show.
1, 2, 3, hey!
Well, Ton Boyer, welcome to the Rightside Media Studio.
Thank you.
We're glad to have
for
you.
having me.
Look, I'm going to do just a brief introduction, sort of tell the world who's sitting here at the table with me. But you got an amazing story. An amazing story. You grew up in a time of war in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
You became a refugee at one point, robbed by pirates as you were, leaving the country.
Right.
You were left adrift at some point. I understand you wound up in Indonesia. You finally came to America. You found your husband. You found the Lord. You raised a family. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is you have a love for this country, which we'll talk about more with your book in a minute. But for right now, welcome to the Just Right podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Well, listen, I said it a moment ago. So you grew up in a time of war.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us where you're from and how that came about.
Yeah. I was 8 years old when the war ended. Came from in Vietnam. I came from the Mekong Delta of Vietnam. We lived right by the Mekong River. Mekong River is a pretty big river. I think it's even bigger than the Mississippi River here. But we lived right on the border between Cambodia and Vietnam. It's about 6 miles from my house, the border is. And I was 8 years old when the war ended. And because I live on the border of Cambodia and Vietnam, I also experienced the war between Cambodia and Vietnam after the fall of Saigon in 1975.
Yeah, that was a turbulent time. I mean, you're talking about the time of not just the United States presence in Vietnam and what the fall of Saigon was 1975. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the U.S. troop pulled out in 1973.
Yeah, and then Saigon fell in 75. Is that right?
Right.
And the communist takeover of the country at that point.
Exactly.
But then the Khmer Rouge were north in Cambodia, and the killing fields started in like 78, 79 time frame.
Yes, about 76 when it kind of started, and then it just escalated between 78 and 79.
Now you lived in the Mekong Delta area, so were you in an urban environment or were you in like a rural environment?
I was in an urban environment. It's a little town called Tăng Châu, Tanchau, and is in the An Giang province. It's the roads in Vietnam is really not smooth like here, so it takes about 6 hours from Saigon. So it's a little bit southwest of Saigon.
Listen, I've had some time overseas myself in different parts of the world, and I've said many times people don't realize here in America that the dirtiest alleyway is sometimes better than the best road in foreign countries.
Yeah.
Do you remember war when you were a kid?
Gosh, yes. I remember a lot. And when the thought of putting my story together and putting it in a book, I realized that I had forgotten a lot. And once I enlisted Lisa Smith to help me with the book, she asked some questions, and it just kind of, helped me to go back to the past. So I remember mostly where I am. The Vietnam War didn't affect me as much, but the war between Cambodia and Vietnam affected me a whole lot more because being near the border town and living by the Mekong River, we saw the atrocities of Pol Pot's, the killing fields, basically, coming down that river every single day.
I saw a speech you gave getting ready for today, and you talked about the fact that your mother would say, "Don't go to the river."
Yeah.
And you did anyway.
Yes.
Like most kids would do. Mom says don't do it.
Exactly.
You did it, but what did
Yeah.
you see? What happened when you went down there?
Well, yeah, my parents tried to shield us. We came from a very wealthy family, so my parents tried to shield us from a lot of things. And there are times where the atrocity of Pol Pot's body parts coming down that Mekong River, and I'm not talking.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Man, just saving the world one soundbite at a time. Hey, let me tell you about Stan McDonald. Yeah, talked to him today, as a matter of fact. Stan McDonald, partner at the law firm of Wilmer and Lee. He's a 30-year veteran of the practice of law. Long time conservative, been in the mix, in the fray, in the trenches on conservative policies and politics for years. But as an attorney, let me just tell you, Stan McDonald has been there in like literally thousands of real estate transactions for his clients over the years. He can stand up for you in any local, state, or federal court. I like to say, and I always do, if Stan McDonald's on your side, you're going to have no greater friend. Likewise, your adversaries would have no greater foe. So that being said, you need a lawyer in North Alabama. I'm about to give you his phone number. You ready? Stan McDonald, the law firm is Wilmer and Lee. He's an America First family man. Here's his number, 256-533-0202. That's Stan McDonald, 256-533-0202. And tell him y'all heard about it on Rightside Radio. And no percentage made the quality legal service would never be bad. Ever be bad. Why would I advertise a bad lawyer? It's Stan McDonald. Come on. It's Rightside to Stan. It's good stuff. Thankful. I'm thankful. Thankful Thursday. Text lines are open, 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. Text it, call it, same number for both. I got John from Huntsville already checking in saying, Phil, did you hear? I guess he didn't like my monologue. He didn't say good monologue this time. He says, Phil, did you hear that dozens of new sponge species have been discovered in the Southern Ocean? John, this is the most random text you've ever sent me.
No, there's been more random.
And one of them is named the carnivorous death ball. Okay, this bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, it was rabid monkeys escaping from a truck, starting the zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got carnivorous death ball sponges. How is this the end times? What is happening right now?
By the way, I don't know where this Walmart was, but apparently there was a monkey with a diaper running loose in a Walmart yesterday. He was running along the rafters of the Walmart building. So I don't know if that was one of the ones that escaped or not, but I guess it looks like we got a problem on our hands. They're invading the Walmarts.
It's like turning into an episode of Jumanji or something. I don't know what's happening around here. Cooter from Huntsville says, nothing to do with what you're currently talking about, but congrats, Phil, on your new role for Alabama. Thank you, sir. Said, I know we're in good hands with you and also in good hands with the future of Rightside Radio. Congrats to all. We will miss you, Phil. Cooter, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back. Text it. Call it 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. We'll be right back.
Two bodies. I'm talking about a wave of hundreds and thousands of bodies.
And you saw this as a kid.
I went. My mom and dad was like, "Don't go to the river. Don't look out to the river." And other kids, of course, me, and also dragging some of my siblings and cousins, and go look at it. And I remember seeing bloated bodies, headless, heads and hands and limbs, and just coming down, floating down the river, and watching some of my relatives taking long sticks and push the body parts back into the channel so that it would, keep on floating down that main channel. And I remember the smell of it. It's just horrific.
There are, I've sort of said sometimes that memories are sometimes keyed more by smell than they are by visual.
Yeah.
Smells come back to you. They bring things back. Absolutely.
Believe it or not, the blooms of the pear trees in spring bring that memories back.
Really?
There's a smell of it that it reminds me of the bodies that I smell as 8-9 years old. Wow. And I remember the other 2 weeks ago when I was given talk to a high school kids, and another memory came back of that time. I remember when the water received from the Mekong River. Sometimes my family would let me play. Me and my siblings and cousin. I have 1,000 cousins in Vietnam. I mean, we're all related somehow. So we would play by the river, out there with the water about waist deep, and us playing in that river somehow. I remember seeing a hand.
Oh, wow.
And we were all just screaming to get out of the water. And when you start seeing one or two body parts, there's more coming. Mm. So, I mean, within hours, you start seeing more bodies coming in. That's the Cambodian. That's Pol Pot's. Their communism, I think, is more evil than even Vietnam, because if you wear glasses, they will kill you. That's represent intellectual. They're not going to have it. If you can read a book, they will kill you.
And I remember hearing too that one of the things that was so amazing was how they would have children turn against parents, and
yes,
and parents even turn against children.
Yes.
And it was self-preservation meant turning someone in, and that was how you protected yourself. And
yes.
What a horrible life.
And I mean, to today, there are homes in my hometown where blood stains on the wall still. There's still blood stains on the wall, because where the Khmer Rouge would come in at night, and they would try to extract information from the locals, and they would take babies from mother's arms and take the baby and smash the baby against the wall. Oh. And there's still blood stains on those walls to today.
Well, I don't think Americans sometimes realize the blessing of living in a country where war does not touch the ground we walk on.
Right. Yeah.
Having said that, so you lived through some amazing events in your home country, your original your country of your origin. Mm-hmm. What was it like when the communists took over the country? I mean, you went from, and you said your family was fairly wealthy. Mm-hmm. What did your family do, by the way? How did
yeah. So my great-grandparents, my paternal great-grandparents, escaped the communist part of China.
Okay.
So he and my great-grandmother escaped communist part of China and settled in the Mekong Delta. He was a Eastern medicine man, so that was his profession. So they started a family there. Because we live by the Mekong River, which the Mekong River is.
Hey, all you Rightside ruffians out there, you are listening to Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Man, oh man, just covering down to some major ground across the southeast U.S. of A. Y'all talk about this show, this one right here. This show goes like from Huntsville back on over to Chattanooga. I'm talking about Tuscaloosa back on over to Gadsden. I mean, all the way down to that loveliest little village on the plains that we call Auburn, War Eagle, straight across the line from there to what we call, once again, Fort Benning, big old patches of North Georgia, Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. Yeah, and that's just the radio. Then there's all y'all out there in the whole wide world going to the World Wide Web and logging in on the live stream. Logging in at places like X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and our website, rightsidemedia.org. And then, oh, by the way, tons of y'all podcasting, catching the show after the fact, but catching the show nonetheless. I say all that to say we can see it. We see the numbers. We see when you're logged in. It just means the world to us. The fact that you guys catch the show on a regular basis is the reason why we get behind the microphone at all. By the way, Thankful Thursday, and I'm going to need some applause from this, but we just exceeded all expectations. As I am soon to depart the microphone, we just hit over 370,000 downloads of the podcast, did we not?
We're actually at 371,000 now.
Good heavens. That is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, we're looking at like 2,500 to 4,000 downloads a day on that now.
Yeah. So let's see here. Yesterday we had 3,810
Come on.
downloads, and then so far today. So I guess people listening to yesterday's show, it's already at 1,705 downloads today.
Come on.
So
That is, listen, I'm thankful. I'm good.
as
I'm
we
great.
should be.
Yes, indeed. John from Huntsville checked in. He says, by the way, I forgot to say spectacular monologue. I got distracted by crazy news stories. Well, John, I wasn't hurting, but I will say carnivorous death ball sponges, that can be distracting.
Yeah, it seems like something that requires our attention.
Yeah, I would say. And then Bruce from Springville says, calling it like it is, Phil, pedophiles teaching our children. I wish you well in your new position as a U.S. attorney representing us in North Alabama. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate you very much. Hey, I got a couple of breaking news stories. We're going to dive into the dippers here in a minute, but a couple of things have happened today. The first is, and this is not like national news, but I am impacted by it. So in my opinion, one of the finest local restaurants anywhere is apparently about to close. And if some of y'all are going to be familiar with it, it's Classic on Noble in Anniston. It's closing down. They're going to make it to the end of the year, but I'm just looking at the article on 1819 News. It just came up earlier. And so, yeah, Classic on Noble. Some of y'all out there have eaten at Classic on Noble. I'm going to tell you right now, they're like, for instance, their Sunday brunch, but their special like holiday brunches, like Valentine's brunch. You got to make a reservation weeks in advance. And when you get there, y'all, it's like, I'm talking about cruise ships don't have buffets like this. I mean, this is gourmet. It is unbelievable. It is, the live piano playing, and they got 3 floors of classic historical building downtown Anniston. Anyway, I hate to hear it, but all good things must come to an end. But they've been there for 30 years, and Classic on Noble is closing down. So there's that. The other breaking news story that 1819 just put up earlier is that today, the state of Colorado has officially filed suit against the Trump administration. They do not want Space Command to come to Alabama. Do you have a crying baby sound effect over there? What do you have that can work on this? About like Colorado panicins. Do you have that?
Yeah, I do have a panikin, obviously. Colorado panikins.
There you go. Colorado panikins are panicking because they want Space Command to stay in Colorado. I think they're going to lose that lawsuit. I'll be honest. I do. I think all indications are that the reasons for Colorado to not keep Space Command are they never should have had it in the first place. So there's that. In every study, every ruling, and now the direction of the President of the United States, it's clear Space Command should be coming here. But that's breaking news. State of Colorado, the Attorney General there has filed suit against the Trump administration trying to prevent Space Command from moving to Huntsville.
What role will Steve Marshall and the Alabama attorneys play in this? I assume are they going to be fighting alongside the Trump administration?
Well, it's interesting you say that. It's a federal issue. All right. So
I'm just asking because I see Steve Marshall tweeting about it nonstop, which rightfully so. But
I would suspect that it's going to be in federal court because they're suing the Trump administration. I would suspect that they've already chosen their venue and they're trying to keep it in Colorado. I don't know for a fact where it got filed. See if you can see that for me, where it got filed. But I suspect it's there. And then the other piece of this, though, is that I would bet that Steve Marshall's office is going to file a brief in support of Alabama's position on this. I just stand by for that, but I can't imagine them not. The first thing's going to happen, though, there's going to be the initial what's called dispositive motions. They're going to file. There's going to be a motion to dismiss filed. Do you see where it's filed? What court?
Denver.
Yeah, they filed it in Denver. That makes sense. So the federal district court in Denver has got the case right now. There will be a motion to dismiss filed by the U.S. attorney in that venue, and then we'll see whether it survives dismissal. We'll also see whether they move venue. That's going to be another thing. If it survives dismissal, then the other question is, will there be a motion to transfer venue to a more or a less partisan area?
But like, if Biden can move it to Colorado, why can't Trump move it to Huntsville. Like, I don't understand like how this is illegal. I don't know what they're going to try
I
to
think
argue.
the Trump administration's got the upper hand in this one right now.
I'd say, yeah.
I mean, all the studies.
I mean, we're a bit biased, but
yeah. and if you think about it, let's think about what happened. Trump was going to move it here first. That was the original edict, right? So the original executive order was move it to Huntsville, Alabama. Then Biden came in and reversed it without good standing to do so. No good cause. He just basically said, we're going to leave it out there. It was seen as being a political punishment to the state of Alabama, which had some of the highest per capita Trump vote of any state in the nation. In fact, the 4th Congressional District, which includes part of Redstone, had the highest per capita vote for Trump in 2016 of any congressional district in the entire United States. That's Congressman Adderhole's district. And so that being said, it was seen as being a political, backhand.
I think it was a punishment for Alabama's pro-life law that it passed at the time.
That too was also ongoing, and the fact that we were a very pro-life state.
But what's funny is they moved it to Colorado, a blue state, but the city it's in, Colorado Springs, like one of the most conservative and red cities in America. So they moved it to a red city.
And they also wanted to keep it in a state that has legalized recreational marijuana.
Yeah,
which all of the service members are still required to take drug tests, and they can't do that. All the studies said quality of life, everything else, Redstone Arsenal. But that's happened. That's breaking news. I'm going more into it than I meant to. But the reality is, there's your breaking news story on that. Matt in Madison texted in. He says, congrats. Did I miss it, or have you announced who's taking your seat? Matt, you missed it. We had a whole day on that yesterday.
Check it on the podcast.
Yeah. So, check that podcast. But I will go ahead and tell you guys again, I am super excited. So, JP and Amy Beth Shaver and Allison Sinclair are taking the reins of Rightside Radio and all of Rightside Media, for that matter, the podcasting and everything. They're taking the reins on it and taking it to the next level. Amy Beth and Allison had a very successful radio show in the Montgomery market for quite a while. They've done podcasting and everything else. This was like a perfect fit. And what's also interesting, I love this. All of us have connections to the Alabama Policy Institute. I feel like API is the Forrest Gump of Alabama conservatism. Have you noticed that?
I have. Yeah, I feel like everybody has sprung out from API somehow.
I mean, this radio show sprung out of API. I was at API. I
guess I'm the only one that doesn't have a connection to API.
We can fix that. We can fix that. We're gonna. Jeff from Chattanooga says, I'm not sure what he's saying. He said, even though I've never seen Phil, my heart swells with pride when I think or hear of him taking on his new role. Well, thank you. So I wonder how many Democrats feel that way about their leaders and people of importance. Jeff, that means a lot, and thank you so much. By the way, I will say, without going too much in detail, in one of my interviews for the role, I was asked, Mr. Williams, is there anybody you can think of that would not want you to be a U.S. attorney? And I said, every Democrat in the state of Alabama.
Yeah. I also thought it was funny, them asking when you've commented on policy. It's like all the time.
Yeah. When have I not commented on policy? Jeff from Indiana says, hey, Phil, with Redstone being part of your jurisdiction, if they do get it back, wouldn't you be the one to sue and to try to get it back to Alabama? So you might be involved in this. I don't think I will. I think it's going to wind up remaining out there. I doubt if they'll move it to a venue that is considered part of the fight. But yeah, good point. And I appreciate it. Tom from Decatur says, I know this is off topic. Okay, here we go. With only 2 days left at the helm, he said, I have a question about your new appointment. Currently, there are 3 Alabama attorneys awaiting disciplinary punishment because of using AI-generated court briefings and AI-generated case law that never happened. How will the new Northern Alabama federal attorney handle this unintended consequence in the legal system? My granddaughter is an attorney. She's a tax attorney. It says that's a good question. Well, it's a great question. So I've actually already thought about this. It's going to be one of the, and by the way, I don't expect that to happen in the U.S. Attorney's Office, whether I'm there or not. And I will point out that all of those who have been cited for that were in private sector employment and were literally billing their time for doing that. And for those of y'all who don't know, attorneys, when we rely upon case precedent or statute, we have to cite our sourcing on that. So when you cite the case, you're supposed to do what's called shepherdizing is the old way. I'm an old guy. So the shepherdizing of the case means you proof it, make sure it's still good law, has not been reversed or abrogated, or in some way, is it got, negative history. And then you cite the case. And you even cite the page number where the thing you're quoting in the case can be. And apparently some law firms were using AI to help them with their research, and AI was giving them fake cases, and they weren't shepherdizing it. It was just going in the brief. And the judge did not take it well. And the judge should not take it well. And so they were sanctioned and threatened with losing their license if they didn't, if I'm not mistaken. So will that happen? Listen, I've already planned on, the things that I intend to say as the new guy at the helm. And I've already intended on mentioning that, but I will also tell you that there has been no indication ever that that's been coming out of a U.S. attorney's office. Those are some top-notch lawyers, and I would be shocked to see that they would ever do it. I got a real quick call. Jeff from Athens. Jeffro, how you doing?
Hey, Phil, how are you, man? Good to talk to you. I've texted many times. It's the first time I've called.
Well, thank you. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm just going to tell you, man, I'm so proud for you, and I know you're going to do us well, make us proud, and really appreciate all of your background and knowledge you bring from so many different areas, and especially how you are not ashamed to share your faith on the air.
Well, thank you
really
for that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And the ladies that are taking over for you yesterday, they mentioned Heather Whitestone.
Yeah.
And you can relate to this story because this happened to a young man who was a Marine lieutenant at the time, was in my office. I think he made captain when I was talking to him in Athens. And he was at Jack State when Heather was over there. And when she had won and was going on to the Miss America pageant, well, he was deployed when she was named Miss America. But while he was there, now he's a very handsome young man, very striking young man. She's a beautiful young lady.
Hey, and Jeff, I got about a minute, buddy.
Okay. Well, they had some friends that fixed them up on a blind date. So he went out with her. And, she's hearing impaired. It just didn't work at the time. He said it was a pleasant lady, but at that point in life, they just couldn't make the relationship work. So he goes on with his life. She goes on with hers, becomes Miss America. He is deployed, and they announced that Heather Whitestone had been named Miss America. So he is in a group with a bunch of his peeps, a bunch of Uncle Sam's misguided children. As you know what that is, my father was a Seagoing Marine. And he said, hey, guys, guess what? I used to date Miss America. You can imagine how that went over with a bunch of Marines over in the Middle East at the time. They just did not believe it. And he said it was a hilarious story. So, but yeah, he did. He actually dated Miss America as a young ROTC Marine at the time.
Well, good for him. That's his claim to fame.
He was a good guy. Like I say, he was a very handsome young man. But anyway, congrats, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Best of luck to you. Godspeed.
Bless you, man. Appreciate you very much. Thank you very much. Got to run to a break. Ran long, but got to run to a break right now. We'll take that break. We'll come right back. 833-687-4448. That's 833-68-RIGHT. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We'll be right back.
It's a gateway to all the commodities, coming down that river from Cambodia and other part of the
trade route.
Trade route. So my paternal grandfather started buying commodities that came down that river, buy and sell, and he started that business. And he has 10 kids. My father is the third child. Okay. And everybody worked in my grandfather's business. And so he started that business. And I mean, we dealt with everything. We bought silk coming down that river. We had a bakery at one point. We had a Fanta bottling company, believe it or not. Really? In Vietnam, South Vietnam at one point. So we were one of the richest family in our province.
So what happened when the communists came? Because
wealth
is not usually allowed in the communist countries.
Not at all. They came in and they basically overnight, with a stroke of a pen, they nationalized all of our businesses and take away and close our bank account, froze our bank account, take over some of our homes and our land. And they were allowed my family to have only the bakery. And even with that, they tell us what to produce, how to produce it, and even at what price. So we went from having one of the richest family in the province to being just like everybody. I mean, that's what communism and socialism is, right?
Yeah.
They basically their things is take from the rich to help the poor. Sounds great. Sounds really. Who does not want everybody to be equal? But it doesn't work that way. All I did was take away the incentive of people really working, want to do better for themselves, and the rich become poorer and the poor stay in poverty.
Yeah, communism crushes the spirit, doesn't it?
It is, and communism is. It's a religion. It is. It's a religion.
Was it so when they took over everything, when the communists took over the country, and the South Vietnamese government fell, did they literally come in, aside from the stroke of the pen and the things that they took? Did they come in and did they micromanage your life? I mean, did they actually walk into the house and tell you, here's how things are going to be?
Yeah, we had a communist family came in and lived with us.
Live with you?
Just to watch us.
They put watchers in your house?
Yes. To make sure we didn't hide anything from them, because we were rich. And basically we went from, okay, I'll give you an example. Before, when you have aches and pain, you can go to the market and get a bottle of aspirin.
Right.
When the communists took over, commodities and everything was so scarce that you can only buy one aspirin. And also because that's all people could also afford.
Wow.
A pregnant mom can only buy one multivitamin. You can't just go buy enough rice and soy sauce and things like that for your family, or fabrics and threads to make clothes. You have to stand in line to buy, those things.
Everything rationed, everything parceled
Everything rationed, yes. And you can stand in line for hours sometime, and there's nothing. And by the time they get to you, there's nothing left, and you have to come back the next day to get back in line.
Meanwhile, the communist leaders got fat.
They
sure.
got fat. Yes.
Yeah,
they
sure.
took over all the people homes and moved in, and yeah, even today, all the millionaires in Vietnam, you betcha, they have a communist tie to them.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is a turbulent time. How long after the fall of Saigon did you remain in the country? You personally remain in the country?
4 years.
So 4 years, so
And I think
1979-ish.
1979, 2 weeks after my birthday, which is in May, it's when my sister escaped Vietnam.
Okay, well, tell me about that, because I know in one of the speeches of yours that I reviewed, it wasn't your whole family that came out.
Right.
It was just a few, and your parents had to make a choice, basically.
Yes.
So what was that family discussion like to decide who leaves and who stays?
Gosh, I remember that night very clearly. I had several aunts and uncles. They were able to afford to pay passages. And when I say pay passages to leave Vietnam, meant that you're paying the official to look this way so you can escape
So
this way.
It's a bribe.
It's a bribe. So if you get caught, they can throw you in jail. So basically, you bribe the government to leave. So I had a few.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower. All right, so Space Command. The question of Space Command, we may get a call in a minute from one of our elected leaders. I'll let you know if we can get that lined up. But it'd be a off the cuff quick call, and I'm hoping it works. I will say this: JP just told me that Governor Kay Ivey has actually responded. What was her official statement? Okay, let me get this. JP, do we have an official statement from the governor of the state of Alabama?
We do.
What did she say? Pray tell.
She retweeted Steve Marshall's tweet or Steve Marshall's statement that he posted on Twitter about it. And she said, "Desperate times in Colorado, desperate measures. Bless their hearts."
At least she didn't say she's a high stepper.
Yeah. I mean, she followed up and said Space Command headquarters is on its way to Alabama. As Attorney General Marshall stated, the law and facts are squarely on our side. We won on our merits and we will win in the courts.
Yeah. I mean, I suspect that's true. What did wait, that was Marshall's statement right there?
No, that was Kay Ivey. So the first statement was the bless their hearts, but then she followed up in the next paragraph.
Was Marshall's statement something you could read quickly? How long was it?
It's a couple of paragraphs, but I can read the first one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Inspector General for the Department of Defense has confirmed that President Trump's 2021 decision to select Huntsville was factually sound and well justified. It was the Biden administration that injected politics into the process when it reversed course and punished Alabama and rewarded Colorado. Now that President Trump has made things right again, Colorado seeks to use the federal courts to reimpose Biden-era politics on Americans who have overwhelmingly rejected them.
Wow. Okay. Spot on. He usually is spot on. So, all right, we'll wait and watch. But right now, it was to be expected. But yeah, that's a thing. We got less than a minute, so I think that one of our congressmen may be calling in, and in order to do it justice, I'm going to see if we can get him to hang on during the break, because I want to make sure that we don't have 30 seconds with one of our duly elected congressmen to talk about the issue. And if we can't get him to stay on, we will do everything we can to convey his points. But that being said, we are about to take a break. But here's the bottom line: the end result of all of this is that Alabama has been deemed like one of the, if you look around right now, you can find like business placement magazines naming Alabama as one of the best in the nation to place a business or to grow a business. You can look at the industry base. You can look at the worker base. You can look at quality of life. You can look at low taxation. You can certainly look at our politics, and you can find us to be a place that people want to move to. So all of the reasons why Alabama was deemed the perfect fit was not just because Redstone Arsenal existed. It was because Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville and the surrounding communities, Madison County and the surrounding counties, and the state at large were deemed to be the best fit. And they were also deemed to be the best fit, not just for Space Command, but for the personnel who were going to be here with Space Command. So there's a lot to be said about who we are as a state when that kind of stuff happens. Y'all stay tuned. We'll see if we can get one of our congressmen to stay on the line with us. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
That had signed up to leave Vietnam on this riverboat, and they're going to Australia because they felt Australia is the safest place to be. And also, we have a few cousins that already left Vietnam before the fall of Saigon, and they settled in Australia.
Okay.
So overnight, one of my aunt came home and told my dad that there may be some empty spots on this refugee boat, and that we should take the empty spots. And there's 8 of us in the family, my parents and 6 kids, me being the oldest.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
I was 12.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And basically, my parents have only a few hours to decide this. And my parents, of course, at this time in 1979, everybody was struggling. We don't have a whole lot of money. And I know it was a lot of sacrifice for my parents to even, bribe someone to the official for me and my sister to leave. And so, yeah, there were only enough money for just 2 passages. And so they picked me, being the oldest. I was 12. And my next sister, she was she's a little bit over 10 years old, to leave with my aunt and uncle, and my parent has to make the decision overnight. I mean, I just can't imagine.
No.
The pain and the.
Do you remember them telling you?
I remember, yeah. And I remember my parents said to trust them, and I think, I, being the oldest of 6, I'm pretty. Bratty is kind of like a bratty, and also kind of.
Were you headstrong?
Yeah. I I mean, I can fight any boys in my neighborhood growing up. I mean, I would have like a spitting contest with the boys. And anyway, so I just felt like at that time, I felt like I'm trusting my parents. And even though now looking back, I can't even imagine them having to make this decision.
No.
Because, honestly, they don't know if they will ever see me and my sister again. They don't know that, right? But they have to make this hard decision because they knew that at least 2 of their kids may have a better life elsewhere than Vietnam.
Well, I mean, that's huge. And I've raised kids, and I understand you've raised your kids. And I cannot imagine at 10 and 12 years old sending them away and knowing I never see them again.
I remember saying,
what an amazing thing.
Saying goodbye to my little brother. He was 2 years old, and that night we slept in a mosquito enclosement. That's how we sleep in Vietnam.
Under
I remember
a net?
Yeah, mosquito net. I remember hugging my brother and one of my sister, 2 of the other sister. It was summer, so there was no school. So 2 of the sisters did visit some of our relatives elsewhere. I remember thinking, this is maybe the last time I get to see 2 of my siblings and my parents. And I just, that morning when my dad took my sister and I to the coast to leave on this riverboat, looking back and seeing my mom there, not sure if I ever see her again. That was hard.
Oh, well, I can't even imagine. I also can't imagine not just your side, but I can't even imagine the parent side of it. But so you got on the boat though, and you're on there, and you do have some family ties on the boat with you. You have an aunt, uncle, and some cousins.
Yes.
How many total?
There was 2 sets of aunts and uncles and 2 of their kids.
Okay. And then how many people total on the boat? I mean, is this
It's about 400.
Oh, this is not a small boat.
No, well, no, it's a small boat, but they fit as many people in there as they can, and there was not room. There was only room just to sit. There's not even room to lay down. And I remember one time my sister and I had our backs together just to sleep because there's no room to lay down.
All right, I heard you speak. This was not a smooth voyage, this boat, and you were actually at some point intercepted by pirates. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, how'd that go?
Well, not very well. But, well, first of all, the South China Sea was full of pirates at that time. And because they knew that the Vietnamese refugees carry gold and jewelries with them to start their lives elsewhere, right?
Right.
So piracy is, I think it was estimated that a quarter of the refugee boat people was robbed by pirates.
Wow.
And they're from Thailand and other, Malaysia, Indonesia, and all that. But yeah, we were, after several days at sea, we actually landed in Malaysia.
So you went ashore in Malaysia, or is this before the pirates or after?
This is okay. So this part may be a little bit sensitive, in a way, but this is the truth. We landed in Malaysia, and we thought we were going to be rescued. Well, the Malaysian Navy came out and they tied our boat to their boat, and they pulled us out to the sea.
Oh, wow. And
we thought we were getting pulled to somewhere like a refugee camp or something. They pulled us out to sea where there's no people that can see them. They robbed us.
The Malaysian Navy?
Yes, because they were in uniform.
Wow. Wow. Did you have any personal items of your own stolen? Were there any people that were taken? I mean,
yeah.
Well, I would imagine human trafficking is also an issue sometimes in this.
That would have happened, I believe, with all my heart, But if it wasn't for the grace of God, God intervened during this situation because a huge storm was brewing. So they started robbing people, and they found a bunch. They came over with metal detector.
Yeah.
And the captain of our boat has hidden some gold.
Alabama and Tennessee syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios, man. We got the local, the state, the national, sometimes the international. And oh, yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number 2 on a thankful Thursday. We're thankful for all of you. I'm going to go to the phones right now. He hung on during the break, and that really means a lot. This is an unexpected opportunity to have one of the members of our U.S. delegation for the state of Alabama, Congressman Dale Strong, from Alabama's 5th Congressional District, former chair of the Madison County Commission, is on the line right now. Congressman, how you doing?
Hey, congratulations, Phil. We're proud of you, and it's great to be on your show again. And like I say, excited about everybody there. It looks like you got a good team coming in to fill your boots.
Well, we do, and I appreciate that very much, Congressman. That means a lot that you'd say that, so thank you very much. But hey, let me ask you, I mean, Space Command, I see that Colorado is filing suit. I mean, good Lord, what do you think about all this?
Tell them to bring it on. I can tell you one thing, our president is not going to relent. Our Alabama delegation isn't going to relent. We're going to do what's right for America. We're going to do what's right for national security by bringing it to Alabama. You remember the 21 categories that were evaluated not once, but twice. And every indicator pointed to Redstone Arsenal as number one. And then it's also going to save the taxpayers of America $500 million by building it in Alabama rather than one of the other 5 or 6 metropolitan areas that were looked at. The IG investigation was thorough. It said that everything was legal by announcing it and awarding it to Huntsville during Trump 45. Then you start looking at what Biden did. He didn't award it to the most qualified, the second most qualified. He went and awarded it to Colorado that was 5th.
Wow.
And let me tell you something. Can you imagine if government starts awarding the F-35 to the 5th most qualified vendor for it? Or what about bulletproof vests for the U.S. warfighter? What if we went out here and got the 5th most qualified vendor to provide that? This is a smokescreen. We're moving forward with Space Command. You get ready. 1,700 direct jobs, 3,000 spinoff, 4,700 jobs. Not only is Space Command coming, we're going to get a bigger piece of the pie whenever we start talking about Golden Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've got the right people to do the job. And let me tell you something. The president knows what Huntsville means to national security. And I'm telling you, he's not going to back up. You don't have to worry about it. What did he say in Japan? He said, I love Alabama. He loves Alabama, but he loves what we do for national security, and we're ready to roll.
That's good stuff, man. That is nothing but good stuff. In fact, JP, go ahead and hit the applause with the congressman's on the line right now. That's just that's huge. So let me ask you this, Congressman. You actually, this whole process of getting Alabama approved, Redstone approved, for Space Command, it predates your time in Congress. You were actually on the county commission during all the studies and the original meetings. I mean, you've seen it from its inception, right?
We have wasted more than 4 years. I was on the other side of the table doing presentations and all this, saying this is why we believe we're first. And that's exactly what happened. But when we start making decisions that are not best for national security, because when I went to Congress, I said, look, I'm going to look at this data. And if it shows that we're first, I'm going to fight it with everything that I've got. And that's exactly what Senator Britt, Coach Tuberville, Mike Rogers, Robert Adderholt, you go down the whole delegation. And I'm telling you right now, it was a collective effort. But I'm telling you, it came down to one person. And Donald Trump said, we're doing what's right for national security. And when the evidence was presented to him, but you've had the Secretary of the Air Force for Trump 45 that said it ought to go to Huntsville. You got the Secretary of the Air Force for Biden 46 said it ought to go to Huntsville. I can't wait. I hope they introduce this GAO report that talks about both sites. do the IG investigation, bring it out. I requested the IG investigation, and you get ready because we're going to be in the sunshine when they reveal that information. Doug Lamborn, that at that time represented Colorado. Hey, he represented his district, but I'll tell you this right here. They knew what was best for national security. Space Command is coming to Huntsville and Golden Dome. North Alabama is going to play a big part in that, and our country will be better because of it. And I'll promise you this right here. We're going to fill our clip so that we can defend America first. And that's what's going to make a difference, because these other countries will not screw with America when we've got a full clip. You just go down the list. SM3, SM6, PAC-3, Golden Dome, just go down the list. All of that is our community. We've been a part of it, and everybody knows we're best for national security.
Well, that's nothing but good stuff. And listen, I got to be honest. I anticipated that Colorado would try to push back. I mean, everybody. I see this as a Hail Mary. At the same time, I don't underestimate anything. But I'm really thankful to hear that our delegation is like lined up and game on. And so, Congressman, if you need anything at all from Rightside Radio, so we can extol the virtues of why this should move forward, you just let us know. All right.
We'll shoot a PAC-3 at that Hail Mary, because we'll bring it down, because we know how to put a bullet on a bullet. We've got the right people, the highest concentration of PhDs anywhere in the country, highest concentration of engineers. We're ready to roll, and we're going to get Sean Duffy to help us with this transportation project so that we can get people to and from this area. But get ready. Space Command's coming. And I can't wait for the president to make a statement on this.
Outstanding. Well, I appreciate that. Hey, Congressman, I'd be wrong if I didn't ask. In a few minutes, I'm going to be talking about the shutdown. How do you feel about things? Are we going to see the shutdown end sometime in the near future?
Totally unacceptable. You look at what the Democrats have done. They put themselves first. Chuck Schumer is as nervous as a jackrabbit right now because he knows that AOC is looking at his job. Schumer is gone. You watch what I tell you. I'm telling you, if AOC runs against him, he went and shut the federal government down for his personal campaign. There's no reason for it. Joe Biden, when he was president, Republicans voted 13 times to do a clean CR, and here we are needing a clean CR, and they're fixed to turn off WIC to the weakest amongst us here in America. They're going to pay the price. Midterms will speak volumes, and get ready. We're going to get us a bigger majority so we can carry out the business for America.
Well,
we will be better because of it, but it's awful what they've done to this country.
Well, I hope that's true, and I hope it's also over with sometime soon, because it's, we're starting to see. I think Sean Duffy said today that we're seeing upwards of 4,000 flight delays because of air traffic controllers that aren't reporting for work, and it's starting to have its impact. So. Yeah, let's get her done. I hope that comes to do. And by the way, I hope the Democrats wear it like a crown. They have to just get hung with it for forever for doing this. But
I promise you, we're gonna wrap it around their neck. You ain't got to worry about that. We will wrap it around their neck, because this right here is a Democratic shutdown. Never should have happened, and the American people are suffering because it. And the Democratic Party is wearing it like a badge of honor. So you can mark it. We're gonna wrap it around their neck.
Good enough. Congressman Dale Strong, man, we really appreciate you jumping in unexpected like this. It means the world that you're not only on the show with us, but you're one of our listeners, and you heard something, you just called right on in. So thank you for your time and for what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Go get them.
Thanks. We'll see you now. Oh, that's good stuff, man.
It's got a good ring to it. Phil the Prosecutor.
It does have a good ring. I like it. Well, listen, some of y'all are reacting right now, and I know that some people are worried about Space Command coming here and and bringing jobs. I see one of our texters who's not telling us who you are and where you're from, but says he doesn't want Space Command here. Everyone I know doesn't want it. The reason is traffic. For years, Huntsville, Madison County says have been green lighting every development project they can without upgrading the infrastructure to support them. So first of all, I disagree with that. I grew up in Huntsville. I know when we did not have a 565. I know when we did not have overpasses over all the intersections on the Parkway. I know when the Parkway was only 2 lanes wide. So I was there when those were all cotton fields, and now the cotton fields have been pushed back, and you've got margins and you've got wider roads. But I will also tell you, this is the best problem to have. Growth is a best problem to have. It's like saying, darn, we have too much money in the bank. What should we do? Well, you got to find your places to invest. You got to do the right things you can to be a good steward of your resources. Same is true with growth in an economy. This is a good thing. And if you're going to tell me that you're worried about having a traffic jam and that's why you don't want more jobs in your community, then I would tell you you're being short-sighted and you're not really seeing the big picture. Take the statesman-like view here and recognize what this means for the long-term future. And if we have to have a short-term traffic jam in order to gain jobs for our kids and grandkids, listen, why would you not? Why would you not?
That's the part of it too. The kids of Huntsville now have something right in their own backyard that they can go right into, of an industry with the Golden Dome, like he talked about,
That's right.
Space Command.
That's
so
right.
they don't have to go to places like Colorado or other parts of the nation. They can stay right here home in Huntsville. So
Yeah, you watch. I guarantee you, within 10 years, you're going to see UAH is going to become a far bigger university with major research capabilities.
Yep.
It's going to be tied to the defense industry even more. I guarantee you're going to see things like more infrastructure, and we're going to get aggravated because now there's road construction you got to drive around.
That's
okay.
the thing. Like the people who complain about the traffic, they're going to complain when the construction's going on for them.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's part of the problem. You're going to wind up seeing the Huntsville airport becoming a larger hub.
Yeah.
People are going to move away from the Birmingham airport to the Huntsville airport. They already are. By the way, of the two, I fly out of them a lot. Huntsville's the better airport anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
But the level of infrastructure, the education system, all of it is going to benefit from the increase. But here's the other piece. Would you rather keep it in the Silicon Valley in California?
Yes. Yeah. Bring it to the red states.
Bring it to the red states. Have we not done everything it takes to make them want to be here? And the answer to that is yes. Did we just do it so that we could be insular and hunker down and not change? Or did we do it so that we could grow and expand and show the world who we are? There was a time, I'm getting on a soapbox now, but there was a time when people said, you're not going to build a big auto manufacturing plant in Alabama. You can't do tax credits. That's corporate welfare. It's not corporate welfare if you lure in a plant like Mercedes, which moved itself down to Vance, Alabama, right outside Tuscaloosa, and set up shop. And we now have Lincoln. A Honda in Lincoln. We have Hyundai down in Montgomery. We have, of course, Mercedes. We have Toyota Mazda.
Yeah, Toyota Mazda.
You've got any number of tier 2 and 3 manufacturers. What you wound up happening was Alabama as a whole became the Detroit of the South.
Yep.
It all starts with one, and then you see the growth and the things that happen. You're going to see I-65 widened down through the middle of our state to the beaches because of what's happening in Huntsville. I'm just telling you. Am I like a growth evangelist right now?
But Phil, 10 more minutes in traffic. That seems like a priority here.
Let me just go ahead and suggest you leave for work earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll come right back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
On the boat, and they found the gold, and it was a lot of gold. And so they were busy doing that. And then they make people strip off their jewelry. And I remember my mom had sent some jewelry with us, some gold bracelets and necklaces and stuff. And my sister and I actually strip them off of us, and we would stuff them in our mouths just to hide from the pirates. So that was saved. But they found a lot of gold from the captain that they didn't want to bother with the people too much. And even while they were robbing us, there was this huge storm brewing really fast, and they wanted to get out of there.
Sometimes God calms a storm, and sometimes he brings a storm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the storm was brewing really fast, and they were trying to rob us really fast, so they didn't search everybody.
So you got to keep yours.
So my family got to keep ours.
Wow.
Jewelry. But that storm got them out of there. And their plan was they disabled our engine and threw some of our provision overboard. So they think that storm was going to capsize our little boat.
They disabled the engine, left the boat just adrift?
Yes.
Okay.
So they were hoping that storm would capsize our boat and kill all of us. So they don't have to do the killing themselves. We believe that is their plan. But that storm, if they didn't capsize a boat, that they were hoping we would be floating in the South China Sea, starved to death because they disabled our engine. We couldn't go anywhere.
How long did you stay adrift after that?
Several days.
Wow.
Several days adrift. And that storm actually carried us to Indonesia, closer to Indonesia.
Which is where you wound up
Yes.
in a refugee camp, am I
Yes, yes. So the Indonesians saw a boat and they came out and they helped us.
That's an amazing circumstance.
Yeah, exactly. God just intervened.
How about that?
I believe that with all my heart.
Well, I believe it with you. So you got to Indonesia, and at this point, I mean, this has been a journey already, but you're not through.
No.
And now you go into a refugee camp that I saw one of your speeches, and it sounds like it was not really a well-established camp when you first got there. It was more like survival. Am I right?
Right. We were the second boat that arrived on that refugee camp.
Okay.
There was one other Vietnamese refugee boat there already. But every day, more refugees arrive on this island, and there was nothing on this island. There were not even shelter for us. Food was really scarce. There was still a little bit of food that we brought with us, and we ate what we had. And then we start eating things that we can found on the island. If you're lucky, you can catch fish out of the sea. But we ended up, and I remember eating things like snails and trying to find leaves and barks and grubs that I ended up eating.
I heard you say on one speech that you could go on the show Survivor and do really well.
Yes, I think I can. I really can.
There's big money in that. You need to, well, but as a kid, so you're only 12 years old, and now you're eating grubs and making your own shelter, and you and your extended family are among how many people in this camp?
Well, like I said, thousands of people. I think it was estimated by almost half a million refugees by the time that camp closed.
Wow. Who was running the camp? Was there an organized agency that was helping assist the camp, or was it just makeshift?
Not yet. We were there for several months before the international organization found that there were refugees there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what organizations wound up coming to your aid at some point?
It was CARE International.
CARE, yeah.
And World Vision.
Okay.
The Catholic, I think some Catholic church organization.
Red Cross or UN, did they show up at all?
I can't remember. I just remember CARE, CARE, and I remember World Vision.
Well, so.
Oh, and I do remember there was a ship that parked right outside of our camp eventually after several months, and it's called Sea Swift or something like that.
One of the Mercy ships at a hospital?
It's kind of like the Mercy ship because there were doctor and nurses that come in every day from the ship, and they made a little hut-like, little makeshift hospital there for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Mercy ship.
Well, so once the aid organizations began coming in, and realize you're still in a refugee camp, so everything's very relative. But did life improve? I mean, did you have food? Did you?
Yes.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. All right. So listen, we didn't even get to the dippers. Have you noticed that?
The show took a life on its own.
The show took a life of its own.
You talked about when the listeners take the show and run with it. One of those was Congressman Dale Strong, so I think that's pretty cool.
Whoop, whoop. I mean, you got to love that, right? And I got no beef with that. Let me get some text messages, though. Marshall from Dubai checking in saying, congratulations on your promotion, Colonel Williams. Thank you, sir. Says, take care of the little things and the big things take care of themselves. I'm going to miss sending you texts and memes. You will truly be missed. Thank you, brother. And and then he sends me a meme about Trump is going to build a Buc-ee's on the White House grounds. That is hilarious. It's even got to demonstrate his ability to work across party lines. President Trump has offered Chuck Schumer a job as the head men's bathroom attendant at the new Buc-ee's on the White House grounds. That's awesome. That is hilarious.
Shooter with a plunger.
Sure, with a plunger and a work outfit on. But thank you for that, Marshall. And by the way, please keep texting into the show because JP and the ladies are going to be here every day running things. So that's nothing but goodness.
Yeah, I mean, we need a sunscreen salesman. That's what he does. We may need
That's
some
true.
sunscreen.
That's all he does is sell sunscreen in the Middle East. Kim from Danville says, when I started really trying to learn and understand political issues and candidates, I found you and Dan Bongino to be the easiest to follow and enlightening with your insight. Man, that's awesome. Thank you. And your knowledge on the issues. Godspeed on your next endeavor. Thank you for the voice of reason. Thank you, Kim. That is huge. I appreciate that more than you know. Dave from Capshaw sends me a meme. What's he got? Democrats vow to starve. Oh, it's Babylon B. Democrats vow to starve as many food stamp recipients as it takes to get free health care for illegal immigrants. And he got Cory Booker shouting. Yes, indeed. Mark from Huntsville says, we need it. I guess he's talking about infrastructure. We need it and another bridge. I guess he's going to try. This is not reading right. We need another bridge.
I think he was saying we need infrastructure. We need another bridge.
Yeah, need another bridge on the river between 65 and 231 to develop the area near Lacey Springs. Point taken. I like it. Matt from Madison says, are you planning on taking your soapbox with you or are you leaving it for the new gang? Do I have a soapbox?
Well, we'll have 3 soapboxes moving forward. So I think we're soapboxed out. We'll be good.
I like leaving my soapbox here for them to have. So they'll have all the soap they need. And then Bill from Madison checking in sends me a couple things. These y'all are sending me all kinds of memes today. Okay, what do we got here? Is it a 2-part meme? A U.S. Can I read this? I tell you what, I better check and make sure I can even read this.
No. Yeah. You can read it.
I can read it.
Yeah.
All right. So, by the way, we just passed the Marine Corps birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
A U.S. Marine enters the Catholic Church confessional booth in Wisconsin, and he says, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Last night I beat the ever-living crap out of a flag-burning, cop-hating, anti-Trump protester." And the priest says, "My son, I'm here to forgive your sins, not discuss your community service." You got a laugh track on that one? Oh my gosh. That's good. Jenkins from Sneed, Alabama checked in, said, I drive about 1.5 miles to Decatur every day from Coleman. Wait, 1.5? I think he means 1.5 hours. I drive about 1.5 hours to Decatur every day from Coleman. I say, so be it for the extra traffic. That just means I get to listen to Rightside for longer. There you go. There you have it.
See,
there's an upside.
Yeah, you got to look glass half full.
I'm saying. That's all. That ain't nothing but niceties right there. That's goodness. That's like what Charlene would call that. That's glorious.
Yes,
that is glorious. All right, listen, we got 1 minute. We're going to take a break right when we come back. Don't forget, we're moving things around a little bit this week in order to accommodate some stuff for tomorrow. So today we're going to have a round of JP on sports. So we'll take and set aside all the politics and the policies and just hunker down for a minute in the world of sports with JP, who is indeed the guru of sports. And don't forget, I always say this, that JP on Sports is brought to you by Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Inspire Advisors. Listen, I'm telling you right now, a lot of you guys are out there doing all you can to put aside for your retirement, to make sure that you've got your portfolio managed correctly, but you may not even recognize that some of the companies you're investing in do not stand for the same things you stand for. Well, Inspire Advisors is there to help you to determine how best to implement what they call biblically responsible investing. BRI for your ROI. They will help you find out things you can invest in that do good for your bottom line, and you're proud to invest in them all at the same time. They're good at what they do. Inspire Advisors is ready to help you, give you some insight, and our website is www.moneypatternwealth.com. That's Inspire Advisors at www.moneypatternwealth.com. Paul Breyer and his team are waiting for you, and they are the sponsor weekly of JP on Sports. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We'll be right back. Folks, Phil Williams here. I want to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. Look, I know this audience. You're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles. You're good stewards of your resources. But what if the companies you were investing in don't reflect your values at all? Well, that's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Because Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also be proud of what companies you're investing in. Inspire Advisors, check them out. Their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio.
Life did improve. They brought in a lot of medicine for, that's another thing. There are people that start dying of dysentery.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not dying of starvation, you die of dysentery.
I had dysentery in Afghanistan, and it's not fun.
Oh my gosh, that's what I had in the refugee. I almost died. I really thought I was going to die, honestly. In the refugee, I had dysentery so bad. But eventually they came in, they brought medication for all of us and food, lots of food.
In fact, now that you say that, I remember one of your speeches, you said to this day, you still get a hankering for Spam once in a while because they brought Spam.
Yes, yes. That's where I learned how to eat Spam. Yes. We still have Spam. Right now in our pantry, we always have Spam.
Well, it's funny what sticks with you like that. So you're in this refugee camp. Living conditions may have gotten somewhat improved, but you're still not in a good place. Is your family still intact? Everybody's still together?
Everybody's still together. And one of my uncle who serves in the Navy for the South Vietnamese Navy, so because he served, he get to pick what country to immigrate to.
Okay.
And of course, we picked the United States of America. Everybody wanted to come here.
Yeah.
This is the place.
Was it? And let me ask you about that because, in my time overseas and in my time in Afghanistan, I actually lived among the Afghan people for a year. And it's amazing people who have never been to America still have an idealized version of what's here.
Yeah.
So you had never seen America, but you had seen Americans, I guess, during the Vietnamese War.
I have never had, no.
So you had no interaction with Americans
interaction.
before.
Mm-hmm.
What was the never having seen it? What was the mental image you had of America?
Cold.
It was cold?
Yes.
Okay.
What I remember as a little kid, always hearing that America is so cold.
Okay.
And even when we were in refugee camp and getting ready to come here to America, whatever money left, my aunt and uncle left, they brought us wool sweaters.
Okay.
To come to America.
They hadn't been to the South.
No. And it was July when we came, and we wore high neck, 100% wool sweater arriving to Huntsville International Airport.
What did you imagine about life in America before you ever got here? What was your did you have certain things you expected to see or you couldn't wait to see? Or
I could imagine, because my life before communists, we had French things like cheese and butter and champagne, all that, and I thought, and we've always heard that America is even better than that. So as a little kid, I think about living in a castle, living in places, that had carpet, and I don't know. It's just like a fairy tale, I guess. As a little kid, I just thinking America is like a fairy tale story.
Well, so the day came when you found out there was a sponsor in Athens, Alabama, of all places.
Athens, Alabama.
That was willing to sponsor a family from the camp.
Yes.
How did it turn out to be your family, and what was that like?
I think it was the Van Kirks of Athens. Mrs. Van Kirk was a Catholic, and there was a nun that came to her St. Paul Church and spoke up.
Side ruffians out there, you are listening to Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. Covering down on a whole lot of ground across the southeast U.S. of A. I won't go into all of it, but the bottom line is a ton of y'all out there all over Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi. Ton of y'all on the live stream every single day in all kinds of places in the world. And oh, by the way, a ton of y'all in the podcast realm catching this show. I say all that to say we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for being a part of our lives. The fact that you catch the show wherever you catch it, however you catch it, is exactly what motivates us to get behind the microphone every day. So thank y'all very much. All right. We're going to do this thing that we normally do on Fridays. We're going to do it today. So for those of y'all that don't know, JP is not just good at pushing buttons on the board. He's not just good at providing the commentary with me here on the show. He's also a guru of sports. So he does a thing every single week called JP on Sports with 2 rounds. The first one's called the 3 and Out. He gives us the top 3 stories he believes are out there in sports world. The second round is called the 2-minute warning. Timer and a buzzer. He does 2 minutes on each story. And the man has the best sound effect in all of Rightside world, courtesy of the girls at Auburn. Hit it. Whoop, whoop. All right, man.
You know, I would say that's the last time hitting the sound effect, but that's staying. Okay. The sound effect is staying.
Absolutely. You got to have it. Yeah, because JP on Sports is hanging around, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, listen, we're going to go JP on Sports 3 and Out. Number 1. What you got, dude?
We got some good college football games this week, of course. Ranked games with Vandy and Texas. We got the rivalry of Florida and Georgia. Texas and Oklahoma, or excuse me, not Texas and Oklahoma, Tennessee and Oklahoma, ranked matchup there. And then Auburn and Kentucky. Auburn coming off of a win, finally, back to 500.
You didn't have to add the 5.
Sorry.
Okay,
sorry. But this is yet another game they can win. So we'll see if they can break through 500, maybe get some momentum going here. But when was the last time, besides the last 2 years, you would think that like Vandy and Texas would be a game that Vandy should easily win? I think Vandy is the comfortable favorite in that one because Texas, has lost to Florida earlier this year, and they almost lost at Mississippi State this past week. They had to win in overtime. So Vandy is not like you see that. I feel like Vandy is going to comfortably win that game. In Florida, Georgia, it's a fun rivalry, but Florida's got an interim coach, so I don't think they have much chance there. And Tennessee, I think Tennessee probably beats Oklahoma. And I'm gonna predict Auburn beats Kentucky this week.
Ooh,
get some momentum going.
I like it. Then again, you've been accusing John of trying to jinx things by saying that kind of stuff.
Listen, I thought Auburn was going to beat Georgia. I picked Auburn to beat Arkansas, and I'm 1 for 1 so far in the last couple of weeks. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm 2-1 or 1-2.
Okay, so NCAA football is number 1. The rundown of the games and the idea that Auburn could wind up having a better than 50-50 season by the time the weekend's over.
Well, there's still some season left.
Okay, so the best we could do right now would be what, 8-4?
Yeah, I think that's the best. You'd have to win out.
Okay, all right. That would mean we have to beat Alabama.
That would.
Number 2, what's next?
Well, the Blue Jays. Man, they're about to do it. The Blue Jays are 1 game away from beating the Dodgers, and hallelujah if they do. Please, please, I'm begging. I can't do Dodgers.
You like Shohei Ohtani, though.
Oh, I like Shohei, but the Dodgers, no. And I can't see Freddie win another ring, not on the Braves. So I'm hoping the Blue Jays can pull this one out. It'll be their first time winning a World Series since going back-to-back in 95 and 96, I believe. It's either 94, 95, or 95, 96. So they had a 18-inning game. What was that? 2 or 3 nights ago, where they ended up losing, but then they won the next game, and then they won the next game. So they won back-to-back games after that 18 inning game that they lost. So, like I said, 1 game away from getting the ring, and I think all of baseball except the city of Los Angeles is rooting for the Blue Jays to do this one. Although it's Canada, okay. Although it's Canada.
I was going to say.
Okay, I understand, but it's the Dodgers. Okay, my disdain for the Dodgers maybe slightly outweighs my MLB nationalism here. So, yeah, 1 game away. We'll see if they can pull it off.
I'm gonna go ahead and say go Dodgers, man. I'm there. I mean, I'm not sitting around like losing any sleep over it, but I am absolutely for that over a Canadian team.
I understand. And if it was any other team besides the Dodgers,
a Canadian team which is staffed with Americans, and we all know it.
Exactly. So it's an American team stationed in Canada.
Playing an American sport.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's 2. What's 3?
Well, what's the Ryan Clark counter? How many times I've talked about Ryan Clark on JP on Sports because he's stepped in it completely, but he's stepping in it yet again. And I actually have a quick little clip we can play here. But so Charlie Kirk, obviously, rest in peace. He was brought up by Ryan Clark on First Take either this morning or yesterday morning for no reason at all. They wasn't even the topic of the show at the time. They were actually talking about the Louisiana governor weighing in on LSU sports a bit too much, maybe. So I'll tell you that little aside first before I play the Ryan Clark clip. But apparently the Louisiana governor he put out a tweet before Brian Kelly got fired. and said something about how, he was bashing LSU for raising ticket prices while we're having such a bad season, and kind of subtly talked about how the coaching situation maybe wasn't correct, and then the LSU fired Brian Kelly, I think, just a couple of days after the fact. Then he went on a press conference, and it seemed like he was like an LSU board director or something, because he was talking about how he brought up the ticket prices again being risen while they're having a rough season, and he also said that the AD may be on the outs. So the Louisiana governor apparently is making decisions at LSU and calling the shots.
Well, he's an ad hoc member of the board.
That I've never seen anything like that, to be honest with you. I've never seen. Can you imagine if Kay Ivey walked up to the stand and talked about firing Hugh Freeze or something? Like I just can't imagine anything like that. But I digress. That was the topic of the discussion at the time on First Take. But also this past week, the Louisiana governor advocated for LSU to build a Charlie Kirk statue on LSU's campus.
All right,
which seems a bit fitting from the obviously. Charlie Kirk made his career going to college campuses and talking to students.
Right.
LSU is a very conservative school in a conservative state, but yet Ryan Clark, when not even talking about Charlie Kirk, decided to do a drive-by and go too hard, try too hard, and talk about how he hates Charlie Kirk and doesn't think that his message resonates and represents LSU. So I'll play that quick.
All right, go ahead.
The second most ridiculous thing he said this week. The first was standing on campus and saying he wanted to put a statue up of somebody that doesn't represent the people of Louisiana, doesn't represent the players and the students at LSU, doesn't represent the executives that work there. That was the first dumb thing he said this week. This is the
So that was the drive-by.
Wow.
Talking about Charlie Kirk. But I have to say, somebody pointed this out, Stephen A. Smith does not look too enthused.
No, I saw that. Stephen A. Smith, y'all who aren't watching the live stream, Stephen A. Smith is giving him a look like you are stepping in it hard, and I'm getting out of the way.
I'm the politics guy here. Going into my lane. But that is Ryan Clark in a nutshell. He virtue signals every chance he can get when it's not even the topic of the show at the time. That was a drive-by in terms of like, I'm gonna virtue signal. We're not even talking about it, and talking about a guy who's dead now.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to go past as if I didn't say anything. Ryan Clark has already had to apologize 3 times publicly for stuff he's done at ESPN lately. He had to apologize for openly chastising someone else on the panel because he disagreed with them and said, well, you haven't played football, so you don't understand. Let the players actually talk about this.
Wow.
He had to apologize again for claiming Louisiana police was racist because remember I talked about a couple weeks ago, Kyron Lacey, who tragically passed away. And there was footage that came out that made it look like Kyron Lacey was innocent, but then Louisiana police brought up footage that actually showed he wasn't innocent in the first place. Ryan Clark went up and claimed Louisiana police was racist for that before knowing any of knowledge. So that was 2, and there was one more that's actually escaping my mind at the moment. There's too many to count, okay? Ryan Clark doing stuff like this, I wouldn't be surprised if he has to go on there and apologize again for talking about Charlie Kirk
so
posthumously like that.
This is an example of, you want to look at him and go, know your role.
Mm-hmm.
Like know your role. Stay in your lane. Dude.
Exactly. Like it wasn't needed. That wasn't needed. If Ryan Clark wants to go on his own podcast and say something about Charlie Kirk, I would obviously still disagree with him. But he went on First Take and decided to bring it in when it wasn't even the topic of discussion. And everybody's like, okay, well, what was that for? So, and he's speaking on that, how Charlie Kirk doesn't represent the values of LSU or the students or the players. It's like, well, I don't know. I bet if you do a poll of LSU students, I'd say that's majority conservative.
Yeah.
Probably by a good bit. Louisiana's a deep red state, and Ryan Clark is an LSU alum. So although he may not like Charlie Kirk, I don't think he can speak. He said Charlie Kirk doesn't represent all of LSU students. I don't think Ryan Clark represents all of LSU students.
No, I would say that's probably true. All right, man. That's like, at what point is he going to? So are we waiting for the apology? Do you think it's going to happen?
I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But like I said, how many apologies does it take before ESPN starts to punish the guy?
I don't know.
Because he's had so many where he's had to apologize after the fact. And he clearly hasn't learned his lesson.
Oh, all right. That's it. That's 3 and out. That's round 1 of JP on Sports. We're taking the break. We'll come right back. Round 2, JP on Sports, is the 2-minute warning. Got a timer and a buzzer. He's got 2 minutes per story. Bill Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
The plight of the refugee people and say, well, they need sponsor. They need to get out of the camp. They need sponsor. And it just really touched her heart. And that's when she and her husband decided to sponsor a family. And the Catholic Church placed our family with her family.
Did they have any limits, like we can only take 4, or did they say we'll sponsor whatever they consider to be their family and we'll take the whole thing?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I never asked her that question, and now she has long passed away.
So who notified you in the camp that you were going to be going to America?
It was one of the organization. I guess it's the Catholic organization.
Well, all right. So how did you come to America? By boat? By plane? What happened?
By plane.
Okay.
Yeah, we when
Is that
we
the first time you ever flew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we left the original camp and moved to another bigger camp for 3 months, and there we were examined by the doctors and X-ray our lung to make sure we don't have TB. Some of us did have TB, and so it took a little bit longer to be on medication to get rid of it before we came to America. So we were there 3-4 months there on medications and make sure that we're healthy before we entered the U.S. So, and then we flew to Singapore. No, they took us to Singapore by boat, and we stayed there another week behind an enclosed camp there just to get us ready to come to America. And then there we flew to Seattle, Washington. That was the gateway.
Okay.
And then from there to Dallas, I think, and then Dallas to Huntsville International Airport.
So what was your first impression of the real America? I mean, what's the first thing that you, like looking back on it, what was the first thing that really struck you? I am in America. What did you see or hear or smell or feel?
Airport.
The airport? Okay.
And there was this lady at the airport walking around with a basket of big red, delicious apples. And I remember the smell of the apple and the look of the apple. We get apple in Vietnam, but they're all bruised and everything because they're shipped from somewhere, you know. But this was like so perfect. And I'm thinking, America is going to be like that red, delicious apple.
Wow.
Everything is perfect. Everything smells so good. You know, that was my first impression of America.
It's you know, again, it's one of those things where I think sometimes we take for granted where we are.
Mm-hmm.
It is way too easy for Americans, having always lived in the first world,
Mm-hmm.
to really appreciate what we have until you go somewhere and realize what they don't have.
Yeah.
But you came from just the opposite. You came from a period of time where your family had everything, then you lost everything and had literally nothing, and now you're here.
Yeah.
And red apples made a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, I don't think we even have a penny to our name when we came to America. We have nothing left.
Well, that brings up a point. So you came to America, but then what? I mean, so did they give you a job, a house? So now what? You've been sponsored, but what does that mean?
Yeah. So when we got to Athens, Alabama, the community of Athens and our sponsor provide us an apartment, a furnished apartment. And I remember seeing it for the first time. I remember take my shoes off and feel that carpet under my feet. It was so luxurious.
Wow.
And having flush toilet.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have to squat
Yeah.
to use the toilet. Running water, washer and dryer, soft beds. I remember open that refrigerator that was full of food.
Oh, they stocked the refrigerator for you too.
Yes. I remember seeing chicken in there that I didn't have to chase after, killed and plugged and cleaned.
Wow.
And gosh, I remember that bed was so soft that even one of my cousin, the boy, he was just 3 years old. And because he's got used to sleeping on the hard floor in the refugee camp that he couldn't handle the soft bed. So every morning we would go wake him up. He'd be sleeping on the floor next to the bed.
Wow.
A different family come every single week to take us to the store, to take us to the health department, to take us to the dentist, enroll us kids in school.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just making common sense like a superpower. All right, so we're back for round 2 of JP on Sports. This is called the 2-minute warning. We actually have 2 minutes per story. I have a timer and a buzzer. So JP, I'm getting my clock ready as we speak. There it is. Go.
So I briefly mentioned it in passing while talking about Ryan Clark earlier, but I think this serves as a segment of its own here. So Brian Kelly, LSU head coach, was fired this past week, and there's been massive eyeballs on the Louisiana governor because it looks like he's stepping over his bounds a little bit too much here, because I didn't mention this while talking about it earlier, but he did a press conference and was asked about if the current LSU AD would be allowed to make the coaching decision. And the Louisiana governor said, absolutely not. The LSU AD is not making the choice for the coaching change. I'll let President Trump make the decision of the coaching change before I let the current LSU AD make the coaching change. So, what are the odds President Trump is actually allowed to make the LSU coaching change? But also, I think it does bring up a conversation of, is this ethical? Should this be allowed? Should a governor of a state openly be influencing a school in his state and their coaching decisions and their athletic program? And could this be stuff? Is this sort of a more to come? Are we going to see more governors in this new era of college sports? And how much? I mean, college football in Louisiana in particular is a lot more than just like an LSU football program. It benefits the whole state, the revenue of the state, the amount of people and students that come to the state when LSU football is good. So will there be more instances of governors speaking out on coaching decisions and stuff related to athletics moving forward? Do you think that's going to happen at all?
I don't know, but I do know that.
And do you think this is unethical?
Unethical? I don't know about unethical unless he's got some gain out of it, but I do believe that he is actually considered to be the de facto chairman of every board of trustees for a state-funded university, like Kay Ivey is.
Yeah,
Kay Ivey actually is. So I don't know, man. Is he an LSU grad?
I don't know. But
I bet he's also an alum.
He may be, but he speaks very Cajun. So
time buzzer. There you go. All right, that's interesting. All right, so governors weighing in on. Now, if Kay Ivey calls for Nick Saban to come back. All right, 2 minutes, go.
So Around the Horn, which is a former ESPN show. He was a ESPN show for a long time. It started to plummet in ratings because so Around the Horn was a show where there was this one guy at like ESPN headquarters, and then there was 5 people they brought in remote, and nobody really knew how the scoring system worked, but pretty much they would talk about each topic and they would go down the line, and when each person talked about a topic, they would get points from the guy who's sitting at headquarters. I guess he would give them points if he liked what they were saying. He would take away points if he didn't like what they were saying. And at the end of the show, there'd be a winner of who, I guess, pleased the host the most. Well, it turned into a virtue signal hub. Shocker. Shocker. ESPN allowed this to happen because they would bring in, people like Jamel Hill and, not Ryan Clark himself, but people like Ryan Clark. And it just became into a political woke show, and they canceled it because the ratings were awful. Well, Sarah Spain, who was on the show many times, a liberal herself, said, this is progressive voices and people of color that you're taking off of TV, talking about ESPN's decision to cancel Around the Horn. And no, actually, I think the problem was the show stunk, and it's not a political channel. People go there to hear about sports, and not from people like Jamel Hill, who think everything in sports is about people of color being overlooked and using it a chance to virtue signal. It's comical because there's so many good people at ESPN who don't do this, But yeah, I feel like the Ryan Clarks of the world, the Jamel Hill, the Sarah Spains, now that they're getting a little bit of taste of their own medicine, people don't want to listen to that crap anymore. Of course, they're playing the victim, and it's progressive voices and people of color being taken off of TV. That's the story.
Wow.
So I never liked Around the Horn. I don't know if any of our listeners know the show I'm talking about, and if they liked it. I always thought it was crap.
Is it still out there anywhere? Like, is it on like some kind of streaming or podcast version?
There's probably archives out there somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah.
There it is. Top buzzer. Okay. And stop the clock, reset the clock, and 2 minutes go.
AOC and Riley Gaines had a beef on Twitter.
Is this sports? Oh, Riley Gaines. Okay.
AOC and Riley Gaines had a beef on Twitter this past week where Riley Gaines challenged AOC to a debate about any topic the congresswoman would want to debate her on. Could be capitalism versus socialism, could be transgender, could be abortion, could be anything. And AOC then retweeted it and mocked her and said that, this Riley Gaines needs to focus on getting a real job instead of doing this. And then and she said, if Riley Gaines focused this much attention on being a good swimmer, maybe she wouldn't have came in fifth.
Yeah.
Really?
Like wow.
Actually, I think if Riley Gaines wasn't racing against a biological dude, Riley Gaines wouldn't have came in fifth. And, so that, but what's really troubling is like how much that blew up on Twitter of people bashing Riley and siding with AOC. But it's what like the state of politics we're in right now, where a woman has to go up against a dude, comes in fifth, and then becomes popular because of her speaking out on that issue, and then also speaking out on issues like abortion, on culture issues, and yet AOC, who is shutting the government down actively, is saying Riley Gaines needs to get an actual job, and if she focuses most attention on swimming, she wouldn't have come in fifth. How about if AOC stopped paying so much attention on trying to win a culture war with Riley Gaines and reopen the government? I don't know. Maybe that's a bit more important here than, we wouldn't have a government shutdown and people wouldn't be losing their SNAP benefits. So I don't know. That's like, to hear that from a congresswoman is really deflating and disappointing, but also I guess that's just the state of Democrat politics right now. And that is the future leader of the Democratic Party. It seems AOC is for sure one of them.
I poo-pooed the idea for the longest time, but it does seem that she's being given more and more of a platform.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
There we are. Hit the buzzer. Yep. All right. Resetting the clock. Do you have time? Do you have time for one?
We got about 30 seconds, but somebody actually texted in on the LC coach issue here. I may want to read out. Stephen from Huntsville said that I believe that the governor is currently the acting head of the university. So there's a little bit of nuance involved that he may be in a position to make the call. Is that true?
The acting head of the university.
Is that true? I
think he means acting head of the University Board of Trustees.
Perhaps.
Because that is a thing. And that's very common.
Is it really? The governor's
like that's what Kay Ivey is right now. She is a de facto head of the Board of Trustees for the state funded university, if I'm not mistaken. I know she's also the head of the school board or the state school board too for K-12.
So if that is the case, there may be a little bit more nuance, like you said. But that is becoming a hot topic in the college football world right now, as if governors like this will be overstepping their bounds by openly, influencing coaching decisions and overruling the AD for that matter. So
wow,
we'll see.
That's a crazy story. I feel like we talked as much about what people talk about in sports world as we did about sports this time.
We did.
All right, that's JP on sports. Coming up next, you know the deal. Butters and Lee, Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Came with taught us English.
So they didn't just sponsor your trip; they sponsored your family to live.
Yes.
Wow.
To help us be successful.
Was this out of one church, or was this a group of friends? What was this?
It was that family, and they included their friends and two churches. Mr. Van Kirk was a Presbyterian. Mrs. Van Kirk was a Catholic. So they had two churches involved.
Okay.
And then, of course, their family and their friends also. So I've always, it was not like a government program. It was just the people in the community rallying together to help this refugee family. And I tell you, we would not be a successful family if it wasn't for the community of Athens. I mean,
I think you just nailed something too. You know, in communism, the government does everything.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you came here, and it was private citizens who did everything,
That's right.
and they did it out of the joy of their hearts.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
That refrigerator, you talked about that in one of the speeches I watched. You talked about that refrigerator, and you said a few things just now. There was a chicken in there. You didn't have to catch it and pluck it first. But you also talked about one time when you thought you needed to eat some ice cream that was in the freezer.
Yes. So we're, of course, we came from a refugee camp, so food was, you eat everything.
You don't waste anything.
You don't waste anything.
Yeah.
So one day we're just sitting around, looking in the freezer and refrigerator and see what we can try. And we took out this tube of thing that looked like an orange sherbet.
Okay.
And we all took a spoon to get us try this American orange-looking sherbet. And we all went, oh my goodness, this tastes terrible. It was so strong. But because we just came from refugee camp, we sat there and ate a whole tube of orange sherbet.
And it wasn't orange sherbet.
No, a few days later, our sponsor, Mrs. Van Kirk, came over and she helped to make breakfast, American breakfast for us. The southern grits and the bacon and the eggs. And she went into the freezer to look for this orange looking sherbet tube. And she couldn't find it. And we told an interpreter that we ate it. And it was horrible. And the interpreter told us that it wasn't sherbet. It was actually orange juice concentrate that we ate.
Oh, my gosh. I bet that was strong. That'd take the enamel right off your teeth.
Yeah.
Well, but I think you made a point, though. Having come from where you come from, you don't waste anything.
No.
You don't. And I would bet that was more than just food. It was probably everything. Everything had purpose, and everything could be repurposed if necessary. Well, so you just mentioned a minute ago, though, you were working through an interpreter. How was the language barrier? You come to America, it's the land of promise. It's the fairy tale you're talking about. There's a stocked refrigerator and soft beds, but you don't speak the language. So how was that barrier overcome?
Well, there was an interpreter, and her name is Ann, and she show up once in a while to help, interpret. But most of the time, we don't have her. So we just point. A lot of time, we just point at each other or point at things, and there was a lot of smiles. There was a lot of nodding
Heads.
Yeah. And we just follow them whatever they want us to do. We're just so grateful to their kindness and the community.
Well, and I heard too, you learned to speak Southern American.
I did. 2 syllables to everything. Right?
2 syllables to everything. And one of the things I saw you say, a lot of times you'll say y'all and then laugh about it.
Yes.
Because you grew up in South Vietnam, so it fits.
Exactly. Love the South.
Well, so, all right. You're a kid with a language barrier from another country, learning that there's places in the world that you can actually turn on the water and turn on the electricity and and that everything typically works. But you still have to find your way. I mean, at some point, the other people sponsoring you are going to have to say, we need to help you find a job, or we need to help you get in school. So how did life begin to normalize, and when did your family begin to be able to do things without the assistance of others?
Yeah, it was probably, they were with us for at least a couple of years, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
That's the goodness of people right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Praise God.
The love that they shown is just unbelievable. Some of them with us, checking in on us, even after a year or two, they were still checking in on us. And and they found jobs for my uncle at Conagra at the chicken plant there in Athens. He started working there and earned some money. And us kids were enrolled in school.
Okay.
And the school was, oh my goodness, they were so loving. I remember my 3rd grade teacher because I didn't know the language, she had picked a child out the class to follow me everywhere I went to make sure I didn't get lost.
Wow. But you
You
said third grade, but you were probably 13 or 14 years old by now, right?
I was 13, yeah, because I spent 14 months in the refugee camp. At this point, I was near 15.
Because that's usually middle school, almost high school age, but you're in third grade.
Yes.
So I guess they had to do an assessment to find out where you were academically and place you?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you were older than all the kids?
Yes. Yeah.
Did it matter?
No, I'm not. I wasn't any bigger than them, actually.
Oh.
I was smaller. I was malnourished from the camp, and I was smaller than some of them, actually.
Wow.
And they would, at that time, I don't think they have the ESL
English second language?
program yet.
Yeah.
But one of the language teacher pulled me out of class every day for an hour or so and worked with me.
Okay.
On the language. Yeah.
I've seen more than once that in families that come from foreign countries that the children learn the language quicker. Alabama and Tennessee syndicated news talk leader, Rightside Radio. Phil Williams here live in the Rightside studios. Man, we got the local, the state, the national, sometimes the international, and oh yeah, like the dude just said, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Well, welcome to hour number 3 on a thankful Thursday. Thankful. That's where we have to stay, y'all. Thankful. So I'm thankful for a number of things right now, but I'm also thankful for some people that have really been kind of in the mix on Rightside for like quite a while. And we do this thing every single week where I bring in a couple of them and they've got opinions. They certainly have opinions. And we sling questions back and forth. They ask me questions. I ask them. We just see where the chips fall. In the meantime, let me just call the roll. So looking northward, that dynamic denizen, that diva, if you will, of dilatory discourse, that would be Lee from Huntsville. Are you there?
I'm here.
You're a dynamic denizen. Do you know that?
I'm going to miss hearing that.
And also right here in the studio with us right now, right here in the studio, buttery smooth voice, the guy who knows how to push all the buttons and even taught JP what he knows. That would be Butters. Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. My last free cup of coffee in the Rightside studio.
Nice. All right. That being said, we got Butters and Lee. Hit some whoop whoops. All right, you guys. First of all, I will just say how much I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for enriching the lives of our listeners and of myself, with your time spent on the show. Both of you. Thank you very much. So let me sling some questions at you. Is you ready? Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, soon to be Governor Tuberville, says that, you know what? Yeah, he'd call the National Guard in. He's sick of seeing the violence in places like Montgomery and Birmingham. I know we've talked about it before, but I got to ask you. Here's what I want to take it to the next level. If he was going to call in because of a violence issue, then my question is, what's the red line? When do you make the call? What is the thing that pushes you to the point of saying, I'm the governor and I'm calling in the National Guard? Butters, what's your thought, man?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this short and not filibuster, but it's a bigger answer to your pointed question. I think going back to like the No Kings rallies, all of the things that are going on have nothing to do with actual civil discourse and trying to solve actual problems, and everything to do with pushing propaganda to stoke flames and push liberals further and further and further. And to what end? I sure hope it's not to anything violent. So that being said, I think that needs to be on the very front of your mind as you have discussions of calling in the National Guard in to handle, even though they could fix the problems. It's what's the spin on this? Because there's no way that anything is ever going to come like, oh yeah, y'all were right. But hey, look, if you're the governor, you've got the right to do it. and
So is there a level of violence? Is there a number of murders? Is there a percentage of violent crime increase? I mean, what's the red line? What do you think?
I don't think you can put a number on that. I mean, you could, especially in the government, you could spend 15 years studying that to come
exactly.
with I mean, and that's one of the, honestly, I guess that's one of the things that I'd look at Tuberville and go, I think he's a leader and he's going to go with his, he's going to make a decision on something.
All right. So you're saying coach is going to call the plays from the sidelines and just as he sees it.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, Lee from Huntsville, your thoughts. What is the red line? When do you call in the National Guard? How do you know?
Well, I think in the case of Birmingham, where you're looking at areas that have some of the highest crime per capita in the nation, it's not a difficult call.
Yeah.
The people there deserve safety the same as anywhere else. And I think that, I don't really think you have to wonder or, tabulate. It's in, I think it's Bessemer and a couple, there's some of the highest crime in the nation.
Yeah.
This is a given. It needs to happen. And in situations like Montgomery, where, what is it per capita? Maybe look at the per capita murder rate and make decisions. But they're having problems with these large events where they're shooting and killing multiple people. I mean, I'm not sure how much of that you can tolerate no matter what the murder rate is. So, I think that, and Mobile, kind of in the same bucket there. So, I'm not sure what the number is, but I can tell you Birmingham, you don't even have to figure that out.
I don't, you can't govern by metrics and poll numbers, and because they can always be manipulated, they can always be pushed. Just keep moving you can't govern that way. And honestly, I think that's one of the problems that we've had for decades. We've gone further and further down that road of that's how we're governed. Everybody's got to get a poll on this issue to see which way to just go be a leader. How about that? Be a leader, and we'll see what happens on the backside of it.
Well, I agree. I think you both nailed it. I don't think there's any one metric. I don't think and I like your phrase, you can't govern by metrics. I mean, you can look at things and go, oh, the polls say, or, oh, the trends are, or whatever. But when it comes to actually making a decision about when it's time to, I must say pull the trigger, but you know what I mean? To bring in the support troops. I think that's purely subjective, but I agree with Lee. Birmingham, it may have already earned the right to have somebody extra patrolling the downtown or providing the background assistance to a understaffed police or sheriff's department. So I don't know what Tuberville is going to do, but right now he's made it clear he sees no issue with the idea of bringing in National Guard if it means making people safe.
Well, and I brought up the No Kings rallies, but I mean, if you think about specific about Birmingham, there's not a lot of black people showing up at those rallies throughout the nation. So I'm kind of curious, what's the actual, neighborhood conversations going on about what they're seeing in DC and the places that this has already been executed.
More places that I've seen have had man on the street interviews with actual residents, like in Portland or in Washington, DC, where they were like, this was needed. Thank you.
Yeah.
I saw one guy in Portland say,
actually live there.
Yeah. One guy in Portland said, I just want my neighborhood back. Antifa's made our lives miserable for the last 4 years. I just want my neighborhood back. All right. There you go. I'm going to jump on the next topic here before we're out of time. So today, this very day, a thing we've talked about before, but it got a new piece of the puzzle. Colorado has filed suit to try and stop Alabama from getting Space Command. Are we ever going to see it at Redstone? Your thoughts, Lee, you're first. What you got?
Yeah, I think we'll see it at Redstone. Here's the thing. This has been from the beginning of political football sorts. So it was decided by the Air Force that this is where Space Command is coming before Trump left office. And it was not a decision influenced by President Trump. The decision was made by the Air Force. And out of the cities that were chosen to look at, Huntsville ranked the highest in the, checked all the boxes in their need categories. Colorado Springs, I might add, ranked the lowest of the ones looked at. So Now, here comes Joe Biden, and he says, oh, we're not going to do that because, and they want to act like it's not due to, retribution for Alabama being a red state, which of course it was. So Trump, as usual, put his foot in his mouth a bit. He does these fabulous things, but sometimes he can be his own worst enemy when it comes to side comments, right? And he made the comment about their voting and everything when he was making this announcement and should not have done so. Because this decision to send it to Huntsville was just reconfirming what had already been decided and taken away the political decision of Joe Biden. So this was just reconfirming what the Air Force had decided 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm saying it had nothing to do with what Trump was standing up there talking about. He just doesn't like their voting system, and frankly, neither do I, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. So this is going to be, they're going to come out and say, yes, this is the judgment of originally and should continue to be the judgment of where it's going. I just hope they don't, the judge doesn't stall any movement of people and such, whatever they're moving here, waiting on this, because they may be trying to wait out the clock and see if they can get a Democrat elected, next time.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised they're trying to wait out a clock, but I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's anything that Trump said that causes it. I think they would have fought this if anybody had tried to. I don't think there's anything that the president has said except that they take issue with the fact that he was willing to send it here in the first place, which is the other interesting dynamic. We're not changing a Joe Biden executive order. We're changing a Joe Biden change of a Trump order, which is the other piece of this that's got to be looked at. Well, I think we're going to have it. I think we are going to have it. I'm not going to be a bit surprised to see this case dismissed in the very near future, or at the very least in short order, because I think everything points to the fact that this is not just a reckless or indifferent decision. There's no misrepresentation. This is actually a well thought out, well researched, well supported decision to bring it to Redstone Arsenal.
Did she take all my time?
Oh, was that? Oh, you haven't gone yet, bro. I'm sorry. Give me your 45-second one.
All right. So, I was actually on a base staff way back in my junior officer days, and I'll just say, for those of us that are worn uniform that sit around and scratch our heads going, who was thinking about how this is exactly the challenges we have of command and control of today's force, and when politics crosses the streams, and it's ridiculous. It's such a waste of money. And I just hope that the aliens just come down and just tell us and be done with it. Just come and land in Huntsville and come out and say, this is where we want
to have a say.
Yeah. Well, hey, they can apply for citizenship. They'll probably follow the process, right?
Well,
they travel all the way through space to come here.
Nice comment, and my bad for stealing your time. Got to take a break though. Ran long. Gonna have no time for round two if we don't do it now. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio with some Butters and Lee. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Did you become the interpreter for the family?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister and I were. Yeah. Pretty much. My aunt and uncle eventually they learned English, and they both went to Calhoun and earned an associate degree.
Oh, yeah. For those who don't know, it's Calhoun Community College.
Yes.
So that's outstanding. So they were pursuing not just living; they were pursuing like improving their lot in life and doing the. Which is also amazing because I think we have so many Americans that grew up in the first world, they forget the opportunities they have around them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's what immigrants like me see, that America is full of opportunities. Mm. And that's why all immigrants want to come here, because they see those opportunities that we as Americans sometimes miss living here.
Well, so how long were you, did you stay in a grade level below your age?
No,
throughout?
after third grade, they decided to skip the fourth grade. So I skipped fourth grade and I continued to go to school. And I was 22 when I graduated from high school. From
22?
Athens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did anybody know that you were 22?
No. No. Because at that time I probably could buy alcohol.
Well, yeah, probably could. You might have been the best friend.
Yes.
So, all right. you came from a vastly different culture
Mhm.
with a vastly different perspective on life, and also maybe a deeper appreciation for what is needed versus what is wanted.
Right.
But then you got into like American junior high and American high school, and did you enjoy high school? Was it fun? Did you do sports or anything? What was it? No.
So we saw the opportunities that was here in America for us, and we knew that we left relatives at home that are struggling.
Yeah.
So I didn't have your typical high school, high schooler that's going to sport and going to doing all these things that high schooler do. And at that time in Athens, every Friday night they would ride around the square in their car,
Yeah.
with their music blasting. That was the thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do any of that stuff because I was working.
Okay, where'd you work?
So my aunt and uncle, they earned an associate degree from Calhoun Community College, and they both got jobs. And from that, they saved their money enough to buy a Chinese restaurant.
Really?
In Huntsville, which is 30 minutes, about 20 to at that time, about 20 minutes drive from Athens.
Okay. Yep.
So they bought the restaurant, and so I worked there, 7 days a week in high school.
All right. So I grew up in Huntsville.
Yeah.
You know that. You know some of my family. We
Yes.
discovered earlier.
Uh-huh.
Where was the restaurant?
It's no longer there.
Okay.
It was a Hong Kong Chinese restaurant on North Parkway before you get to Max Luther.
Yeah. I think
It's
I've eaten
right-
there.
No way. I might have served you.
You might have. That's crazy.
Yeah. So let's see. It was right next to. It was attached to a hotel that has the orange roof.
The orange roof. Yeah.
Oh.
Your husband's over here wanted to say
Yeah,
it. Don't worry
I
about
know,
it. But,
I know.
but the reality is, so your family
oh,
had a
gosh.
restaurant and you worked in it. How many days a week did you work there?
7 days.
Oh, so you went to school and worked 7 days a week.
Mhm. I would go to school. After school, I would drive up to Huntsville and work there, waiting tables. And in between waiting tables, I'm doing my homework.
So you've definitely got a work ethic.
Yes.
The restaurant was where you spent the majority of your free time, which wasn't really free, but was the whole family involved in the restaurant?
Yes. My aunt and uncle, of course, my aunt would quit her job to run the restaurant. My uncles continued to work just to keep the insurance.
Yeah.
And my sister would stay back home to take care of their boys who were still in school. But I helped with the restaurant during the week. And then on the weekend, everybody, the whole family worked. On Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, the whole family worked in the restaurant.
I think the other thing that too often Americans miss, and not everybody, because there's entrepreneurial spirit here. There's still a great sense of industry in the United States, and there are people that appreciate what we have, but there's also people too often that become complacent and don't realize that sometimes hard work really does pay off. And that's also honoring God. That's a stewardship of what he gave you.
Exactly.
Part of stewarding is even your time.
Right.
The relationships that you had with the sponsors who were with you for 2 years. One of the things that strikes me, there's a passage, and I've got to think where it is right now, but I think it's in 1 Thessalonians, but it says, and we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid, conservative, and just plain right. Man, oh man, just like making common sense like a superpower, y'all. Bulletproof influence is what I'm saying, baby. All right, so I'm going right back to Butters and Lee. Round 2, they asked me questions. I don't know what's coming. I just wait and find out. Lee, ladies first. What do you got for me?
I was really touched by a question that someone asked Charlie Kirk, and I wanted you to answer it. If it all went away tomorrow, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, wow. This may be a filibuster moment. If it all went away tomorrow, what would I want to be remembered for? Well, it's funny you say that, because I've been asking, when I was doing the Just Right podcast and doing the long form discussions, I always ended that with that kind of a question. I would want to know, that as I was remembered after the fact, that people could say there was a man who loved Jesus and did not have any inhibition about saying so because he knew it actually made him stronger. It made him a better husband. It made him a better dad. It made him a better business person. It made him somebody who would stand in the face of difficulty and would go to hard places and do hard things. And he did all those things, but he did it because he loved Jesus. So if I had to say something at all, that's what I'd want it to be. How's that?
And that was Charlie's answer. And I'm going to miss you.
Well, dadgummit. Throw that out at me at the last second. Well, Lee, you've been a huge part of our life, and listen, I'm going to go ahead. I think it's time for the big reveal. Your actual name is Laura Lee.
It is.
And we have called you Lee from Huntsville for years, but Laura Lee, last initial P. We love you. We appreciate you. You've like been a part of our lives. So thank you. You're one of the OG ruffians from the time the show started. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, dadgummit. All right. Butters, you asked me a question. You got just a couple minutes.
Well, mine's not nearly so sentimental.
If you get down to my feels too, I'm gonna be in it.
I was trying to. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how hardcore of a gun nut you are. For some of us, it could get into the feels.
Wow.
So just for funsies, because guns are fun to talk about, and I know a lot of the audience likes talking about them. Glock is a little leaked announcement, and apparently Glock is like getting rid of almost their entire line of firearms.
Oh God.
All related to, I don't know if I know you haven't had time to probably do much more than shave every morning and get to work.
I didn't shave today, as a matter of fact. But
so they're trying to get rid of the Glock switch thing, trying to make it, and it's I don't know. Obviously, a lot of debate on the internet now. What are your thoughts? Is it a business that's actually making a good decision, or is this government driving a business in an inappropriate way?
Well, I will say this. I get why Glock is doing it. They're sick of having their name attached to something that has controversy. They're sick of, because they're not called switches, they're called Glock switches.
Yeah.
And so they're tired of having their name co-opted by people that are doing bad things. And they're tired of having localized and state level legislation trying to attack the gun control issue by naming them as part of the problem, because Glock switches. They didn't make the Glock switch. They didn't quit the crimes of the Glock switch, but they're sick of their name being attached to it. So what they're really doing, in my opinion, is not necessarily, they're not doing it because it's a public safety issue and all that, and they're doing it because it's potentially a liability issue, but mostly because it's a huge negative PR issue. They're sick of having their name attached to criminal activity. If it had just been that people are out there and any other firearm could use a piece of plastic stuck to the back of it that allows it to fire on automatic, and they were just called switches or pistol switches, they wouldn't change. But because they're referred to as Glock switches, that's the deal. I'm a Glock guy myself, and the Glock 19 is my preferred handgun right now. But I will just say that I think Glock is doing it simply because they're not yielding to political pressure. They're yielding to the fact that they hate having their name attached to crime. I got about 30 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and steal the moment here and take a moment of personal privilege. Tell you both I love you. I appreciate you. Butters, you sat in here in the studio for what, 3.5 or 4 months when we didn't have a JP yet, and made it all work because in the Army, I'm a push-to-talk guy. I just want to know if I push the little button, I'll talk to somebody. It's the comms guy that makes my job easier, and you were the comms guy, and thank you very much for that and for all you've done on the digital side of what we built. And Lee, again, thank you for your personality, for your wit, for your commitment, and we love you too. All right.
Definitely.
All right. Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Give them some whoop-whoops on the way out, man. Whoop us all the way out to the door. There you go. All right. Playing in the background, Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. We're right back. Because you had become so dear to us, we were content not only to share the gospel with you, but even our very lives as well. Meaning that what you had was a deep relationship with these people. Did that continue even after the first 2 years? Did the families you had seen that sponsored you and helped you, were they still around? Were you still seeing them?
Yeah. We still continue to see some of them. Yeah.
You said something in one of your speeches too about something. I'm jumping around a little bit, but you said something about one of the things that really got you was a Salvation Army angel tree.
Yeah. That first Christmas in America. I was 13.
Okay.
And then my sister, who was 10, 11. And then I have three, my aunt and uncle had 3 boys. They're younger. So that very first Christmas, I woke up, don't understand anything about Christmas.
You grew up Buddhist? Is that right? I think I heard you say that. Yeah.
I grew up, well, my family, Buddhist, but we weren't like practicing Buddhist, religiously or anything like that. I think it was just one of those things that you kind of pass on from your ancestor.
It was cultural religion as much as anything.
Yeah. And so I remember waking up Christmas morning, and there was a Christmas tree that's decorated. And there's these big mesh bag. At that time, it was the angel tree. Came from the Salvation Angel Tree, which I didn't know that it came from Salvation Angel Tree, Salvation Angels Tree program.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, but I remember waking up, seeing that the tree and these big mesh bag that full of toys and oranges, and I remember at that time. Now I'm dated back. The little strawberry shortcake dolls, that smell just like strawberry shortcake. I remember smelling it for the first time. And it makes such an impression. I'm like, who did this? Who would do this for us? It would just make such a big impression on me that a few years later, I found out that it was the Salvation Army Angel Tree, and I wanted to volunteer there. And help. And so I got to volunteer with that program for several years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Give back.
To give back.
Yeah.
Because it makes such a huge impression on me.
Well, so let me ask you this. So you came to America with, you called it a fairy tale ideal of what America might be, never having seen it. Mm-hmm. Now you've been here for a few years. Was it living up to expectations?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
So no deflation, no loss of the ideal?
No. Part of it because we knew what communism did to our country. And we knew that my parents and some of my 4 siblings and cousins and aunts and uncles in Vietnam, I knew that they were struggling so badly that anything is better than what they are living. And America's given us these opportunities we're just so grateful to whatever America gave us, and we seize it, and work really hard. I've always, when I go and speak to kids now, I've always like, you don't have to be the smartest kid in the classroom. You just got to show up and work. That's all.
I practiced law, and I was told by an old lawyer back when I was a new lawyer. I won't say young because I wasn't young, but I was told by an old lawyer when I was a new lawyer. He said, you don't have to be the smartest lawyer in town. You just have to be the hardest working.
Yep.
He said, most lawyers are lazy. He said, you do the work and do the research and prepare yourself. You'll beat the smartest lawyer in town every time.
Exactly. Wise words.
There are wise words. I actually shared them with another young lawyer later because now I'm the old lawyer. Well, so let me ask you something. You mentioned a moment ago, you knew back home that your family that you had left behind lived in a still. And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative and just plain right. Just covering down on some major ground across the southeast U.S. of A. Y'all don't talk about this show. This show goes from Huntsville back on over to Chattanooga. And I'm talking about Tuscaloosa back on over to Gadsden. I mean, all the way down to that loveliest little village on the plains we call Auburn, War Eagle, straight across the line from there to what we call once again Fort Benning. Benning, big old patches in North Georgia, Mississippi, all thrown in just for good measure. And that's just the radio. That's just the radio. And then, oh, by the way, all y'all out there in the whole wide world going to the World Wide Web, logging in on the live stream, looking inside audio, video in the studio, places like X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and our website, rightsidemedia.org. And then, yeah, all you podcasters who apparently have just ramped it up here lately, like, good Lord, thank you very much. No matter where you catch this show, no matter where you catch it, thank you. Thank you for being a part of our lives. The only reason why we get behind this microphone is because of y'all. And when we see that you've logged in all these various ways, it just means the world to us. So y'all are it. Y'all are the bomb. John from Huntsville says, Butters gets massive extra credit points for wearing that Right Side Ruffian t-shirt because that's the exact same one that I still have in my closet for winning Boomer's college football pick'em contest by 1 point. He said, also, I've only worn that t-shirt one time because I don't want to mess it up. It has sentimental value. And one day it'll be worth a lot, especially if U.S. Attorney Phil Williams signs it. Oh, wow. I'm reading and then realizing what I'm reading.
Put you on the spot there.
He did. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, John. Joe from Indiana. Joe from Indiana says, this morning, Dale Jackson, Dale played a clip from a Nashville radio station. A caller was suggesting a Dale Jackson Halloween costume. It was not flattering. Said, I swear it sounded like Jeff from Indiana. So are you saying he was suggesting a costume for Dale or that people should dress like Dale Jackson?
I think he's saying a costume of Dale Jackson.
A costume of Dale Jackson.
Yeah.
Pray tell, how would that work?
Probably
you already have the hairstyle.
Yeah, I'd probably have my hairstyle and beard and probably have a some pro wrestling belt on it. Or he likes to do the youth pastor fit of a tuxedo with no coat and a tie with blue jeans. He calls it the youth pastor fit.
The youth pastor fit?
Yeah. So it'd probably be something like that with like a pro wrestling belt on it. I think that just about encapsulates it. Yeah.
You know, it'd be a hoot if we showed up at Dale's studio one day, like several of us show up and we all wore bald wigs and fake beards.
Well, I would just show up like this.
And you would show up like that.
Show up like me. The amount of times when I worked at WVNN, people would like walk in and see like the back of my head and think I was Dale, or they see the back of Dale's head and think it was me. It's like.
Tom from Decatur says, we'll always remember Lee for introducing Mexico the third world country. I'd forgotten about that. She called Mexico a third world country. Keith on a tractor says, me and my family are praying for you and yours. This country needs men like, oh, thank you. Men like you. And I'm so thankful for you. Keith, thank you very much, brother. I am thankful for you, man. Penny from Athens says, happy Halloween, Right Side Ruffians. I'm making monster candy for tomorrow while watching the show on Rumble. Phil, God bless you. We'll miss hearing you every day. JP and the girls, y'all hold down the fort for Phil. I suspect y'all will.
That's the plan.
It's like it's going to be a hoot.
Yeah, it is.
So you do plan on keeping JP on sports, you said. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be injecting that into the week as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking forward to finding out like what flavor they're bringing to the show because they got their own style and I mean their worldview is exactly the same.
Oh yeah,
as ours.
You ain't got to worry about it becoming like a socialist show or anything
no,
like that.
No, I'm not.
As a matter of fact, I mean, there's a lot of topics. They've been in the fight on stuff like the library issue and others like that. I mean, yeah, they've been in the mix for a while. But I will go ahead and say, on a serious note, I'll go ahead and say, JP wouldn't be going along with them if they weren't. I could promise you that. I'd find something else to do if I didn't think they were the ones. I have confidence in them. Mark from Decatur says, as I remember, it was the anti-abortion issue that caused the Biden administration to move Space Command out of Huntsville. That's part of what I was thinking too. It was. I think it was. Jeff from Athens says, hey, JP, the Louisiana governor's point was that the same AD had hired Fisher at A&M that hired Kelly at LSU, and that cost the two schools over $120 million and didn't need to be repeated at the same time. Or third mistake. I mean, and that's valid because that affects the whole state. But I think it's an interesting conversation if it's when we talked about the governor being the interim president of the board or something like that at Louisiana State. So that would be a little different. But I think it's an interesting conversation to have if it's a governor's job to be so vocal and influential on because he put out that tweet about the school and raising ticket prices when they were struggling, and 2 days later Kelly was fired. So he has sway.
He has sway. I mean, he's the governor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
the question is, should he have sway?
The social media rumor right now is that LSU is going to make a huge offer to entice Saban back into coaching at LSU again.
Yeah, I saw that they were offering him $1 trillion to go. And,
was it $1 trillion?
Yeah, $1.5 billion to go to LSU.
I mean,
yeah,
$1 trillion. That's like Elon Musk money.
It's more than Elon Musk money.
You could build all kinds of things with that. All right. John C. from Madison says, if I remember correctly, Trump originally wanted Space Force Command Space Command in Florida, but his general said that Alabama was the best place for it. I don't remember that, John C. I do not recall Florida. I know Florida was in the running.
Florida was pushing for it.
Yeah, Florida wanted it, but my recollection was because of Marshall Space Flight Center, quality of life, material command, Redstone Arsenal has facilities, at the very least has ground behind the wire, if you know what I mean. You're not having to build a secure facility. You've already got a post you can put it on. It made sense. Paul from Athens says, we need to deport violent criminals to the Mexican cartel territories. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not sure why you texted that today, but okay. Was there something that I said that brought that up? I don't know. Paul, thanks for the text. Stephen from Huntsville. Their president. Oh, he's talking about LSU. I'm about to say, whose presidency is vacant? LSU's vacant. Okay, gotcha. Lynn from Madison says, did you see the crown that South Korea gave to President Trump? How cool would it have been if he had worn it to his meeting with Putin?
I actually did not see that.
I didn't see a crown. I saw they gave him like a medal that you hang around your neck, on a ribbon, and it was in a frame. And he said, I ought to wear that right now. Maybe I didn't see a crown.
I didn't either.
But hey, no kings. Darlene from Decatur. Darlene from Decatur says, oh, it's a long one. Says, Phil, I sure am going to miss you. Thank you, Darlene. Says, you kept me company while preparing countless dinners, while working in my garden, on my earbuds, while bike riding, even on my earbuds while shopping. You have a way of explaining complicated political problems clearly. You're so reassuring with Charlene's quote that there's more of us. And you made it fun. You made it fun to laugh about woke world instead of fretting over it. I love how unashamedly you proclaim Christ and stand on biblical principles. I will always be grateful to you and never forget how comforting you were to my Gold Star mother's. Oh my gosh. I just realized who I'm talking to. Darlene, love you. Thank you so much for that. To my Gold Star mother's heart. Yeah, that was one of those moments. This is going to tear me up, man. When I called about the Afghanistan pullout debacle, you'll always have a special place in my heart. You saw all of us ruffians through the election and other hard times, and I have peace knowing that your new position is keeping Alabama on the right track. God bless you. Darlene, God bless you. And thank you for how much you've given to this country. So for those of y'all that don't remember, I was on the air when the Afghanistan pullout was just launched. And I literally came on the air in July of 21. And within weeks, as an Afghan veteran, I was on the air live hearing about the pullout and how badly it was going. And then, of course, Abbey Gate. And it turned into, I would say this, I think we gelled as a Rightside family in that because that was a period of weeks where it was almost like we did group therapy on the air every day. And it was as much for me as it was for y'all. But that one, I still to this day remember Darlene calling in. So thank you, Darlene, for totally trashing my emotions now. But there's that. Let's see what else I got here real quick. Julie Ruff from Marshall County says, yay for keeping the sound effect.
Yeah, she's the one that sent the JP on sports sound effect.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She's the one that sent it to us. Julie Ruff, you rock. Thank you very much. It's still the best sound effect we've got. Richard from Madison says, Colonel, I've told you this before. Many are called, but few are chosen. God bless you as you begin your new journey that God has chosen for you. P.S. My wife listens when she can, and she's turning into a right side ruffian. There you go, man. There, just stay on it, Richard. Sandy from Harvest, he says, sir, change can be painful. In this case, painful for me as I'll miss your voice of reason. This move would be good for you and your family, and even more so for our courts and for America. God bless you and all you do. For North Alabama, I think he said. So, well, thank you for that, Sandy. Listen, you guys are amazing. Y'all are this has been 4.5 years I didn't expect. And I'll probably talk about it more tomorrow. In fact, I know I will. Tomorrow being my last official day on the air at the Rightside microphone. But I am super stoked about the way it came together for Rightside to continue. Because there was a period of time there where I thought, I mean, what are we doing, God? I mean, is it just I'm just gonna put it in a box and pretend it never happened and just go, wow, that was neat. And then JP and Allison and Amy Beth all sort of gelled together and became a thing and decided to take it and run with it.
He knitted it all together as he
did,
as God tends to do.
He does.
I've noticed in almost every instance in my life where there was like, what the heck's going on? And then at the end, when you see how it all came together, you're like, oh, that's even better than I would have done in the first place. So yeah, I agree. As somebody who is one of the, that was a part of the moving parts from this, from beginning to end, I could say from every single side of everything, from you and your new gig, and then the future of Rightside and who's taking over with the ladies. I think this was God ordained. So
yeah, I agree. I do. And like you said, you can see it. You can step back and see it now.
It's like a work of art. Like, oh, couldn't have done it any better than that.
Like a puzzle. I mean, I don't know. I would appreciate sometimes if he didn't have to do the 11th hour stuff.
Yeah. He that's what makes it so good. You got to wait for it.
Let's see what else we got. A few more before I go to the break. Bordeaux from Harvest says, hey, Phil, it's Bordeaux from Harvest. And I just wanted to say that it's wonderful you getting that appointment. Thank you. He says, I know you'll do a great job. You made my first 16 months back in Alabama just wonderful. And my wife and I'll be praying for you because I know you're going to have some really, really tough decisions coming up. We just wish you the best and God bless you so richly. Bordeaux, you are amazing. Thank you so much. And we're also glad you're back. And then Roughly Ann from Huntsville says, I've given your departure thought. She says, I will sure miss you. I miss Rush, but you have prayers that God will bring you back to, I have prayers God will bring you back to the microphone at his will. God love you, Phil. Thank you, my friend, Roughly Ann. All right, we're going to take a break on that one. Whew, I got to go collect myself. You guys are going to wear me out here. You know what, though? I counted all as treasure. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. In many ways. Did you have communication with them? Did you know how they were doing? Did you write back and forth? What?
Yes.
Okay.
We did. At that time, we wrote back and forth, and it would take months. And everything we wrote to them was open by the communists.
Oh.
And they would read our letters because I knew that because when I received letters from home, my parents and sibling would date the letter, so I knew it would take several months. And all of my letters that I received had been opened. And I remember one time I even slipped $1 or $2 in my letter. And my dad wrote back and told us not to do that anymore because they won't get it.
Wow.
It was open and read and sealed.
But at least they knew you were safe.
Yes.
How long did it take before they knew you were safe?
6 or 8 months.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were able to get a message to them while you were in the refugee camp?
When the organization came and helped us, we wrote a letter to my cousin in Australia, and they delivered to my cousin in Australia. And my cousin in Australia wrote to my parents, said that your family is in a refugee camp in Indonesia. That's how they, because my mom, I found out later in 93 when I went back that my mom, the market in Vietnam is, people go to the market in Vietnam a lot, every day, right?
Like the street markets.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also a social place, a place where people catch up with their neighbors, and find out,
all the
gossip going on. And every day she would go to the market and she would hear so-and-so left, but they didn't survive the sea.
Oh, wow.
So-and-so was robbed by pirates and they killed everyone. It got to the point where my parents hadn't heard from us for months. My mom was so distraught. She thought that she might have sent her kids to die because she hadn't heard from us for months, and she didn't think that we had survived. She said, I can't hear this anymore. So she stopped going to the market and she shut herself upstairs in one of the room until she could hear if we had survived or not.
Wow.
And my sister said one time she went to spend some time with my grandmother for the summer and came back, and my mom was sitting there and she didn't recognize my mom because my mom had lost so much weight and she was just grieving, thinking that we didn't survive.
Wow. But you did.
Mm-hmm.
You came to the United States. Life is better. And were you able to communicate with them directly at that point? Were those letters, you weren't having to go through Australia anymore. You were sending letters directly.
Right.
Wow. So you're 22 years old leaving high school, but you met a guy named John at some point, who's sitting over here to my left. And you and John now have been married for a lot of years.
It'll be 35 years this June.
Yeah. My wife, Charlene, and I are at 38.
Wow.
But you and John met, and I saw you give a speech to a church, and you said that John had already decided he was going to marry an Asian woman because God had told him that.
Yes.
And then he met you.
Yes.
And I guess that was it.
Yeah.
But you also had some friends who prayed you two together.
Mm-hmm.
Tell that story.
Okay, so let's see how. Okay, so John went on a mission trip, Central America, and he was engaged to a lovely young lady in North Alabama. Well, during his mission trip, he realized she wasn't the one for him. So when he got back, he broke up their engagement. So a few months after that, he was going down an escalator at the Parisian. If you live in North Alabama, you know there was a mall there with a store called Parisians.
Yeah.
Well, he was buying a gift for a baby shower, and he came down this escalator, and he saw this older Asian lady at the end of the escalator where there was some makeup counters.
Yeah.
And he had a flashback that when he was a kid, he saw himself marry an Asian person, a woman. And so he said, he did out loud, he said, God, that's what I need.
Apparently he was right.
And so the next day when he went to the baby shower, he saw a friend, and his friend said, we have this girl we want you to meet. She's a friend of my girlfriend, who at that time was my best friend in high school. And John's like, I don't really want to date a high school girl.
Because he was older, right?
Right. He graduated from UAH, has his engineering degree.
And we are back. Phil Williams, Rightside Radio, solid conservative, just plain right. Making common sense like a superpower. All right, a few quick texts and I'll go to the phones. Dustin from Hillsborough texts in, says, love you from your young life, brother. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. David from Taft, Tennessee said, I second what Darlene said. Thank you. Very much. And Victor from Huntsville says, Phil, in June 2021, I arrived in Huntsville from St. Louis, Missouri by way of spending the previous year at the Air War College, Maxwell Air Force Base. I soon discovered you on WVNN. You became my primer for all things Alabama, political, social, and otherwise. Wish I'd been able to meet you in person. There's still time. Wishing you all the best in your next assignment. Thanks for giving us a veteran's voice. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate your service. And thank you for listening and being a ruffian. The grades are in, and I will just tell you guys too, tomorrow is going to be a day full of stuff like that. I'm already getting the mocking statements that I need to go ahead and have tissues ready. But I do expect some of the members of our Rightside family that have periodically been on with us to call in. I will tell you, I expect Birdman to be in studio with us tomorrow. And I also will let you know that the lovely Charlene is going to be in studio for the part of the show towards the latter end of the show. And I would encourage all of y'all to tune in for that. Let me go to the phones right now. Jeff Rowe from Indiana. Hey, buddy.
Why did you wait 4.5 years to have Charlene on the show? You
Actually,
had her on more than that.
Actually, she was on at the very beginning. She was on at and you have no idea how much input she gives me on a daily basis. So,
oh, I can imagine. That's your biggest supporter and critic, I imagine.
Well, and she's also like literally. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she'll text me a story that I didn't know was there, and it relates to something I'm going to do on the show that day. I have more than once said on the air, "Hey, Charlene just texted me with this thing," and so there it is. So she has input, that's for sure.
She's part of the Rightside crew.
That's exactly right. Oh, well, what do you think, man? We talked about a lot of stuff today, but you know, it kind of ran amok. We didn't even get to my dippers today at all.
Oh, that's good. We don't need to get any dippers. We're just having a good time here on the radio.
That's exactly right.
But you know, they talk about the Dale Jackson thing. Well, that was me.
That was. So I got to ask for clarification. Were you suggesting a costume for Dale Jackson or a costume of Dale Jackson?
Kind of. I was talking to Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith.
Okay.
And okay, and then they was talking about costumes, and I said, well, Cameron Smith. I said he was talking about a costume, and I said, well, I know what you could probably have is you can shave your head, glue a horse's tail onto your chin, and gargle some Drano. And I said you could go as Dale Jackson.
Yeah, that was you saying that?
Yeah, of course. Who would say something like that?
That's hilarious.
And then Dale played that first thing on his show this morning.
They must have taken the audio clip and sent it right to him. That's too good.
Yeah.
So okay, so a horse's tail. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can make all kinds of hay out of that, but I won't.
Yeah, it's for multiple reasons.
Oh, well, hey, listen, brother, I got to tell you too, how much I have enjoyed. I know we'll probably talk tomorrow, but how much I've enjoyed having you become like a part of the daily, portion of this show. And I still remember, I'll never forget the day that I was not on the air and you texted me and said, "Why aren't you on the air?" And I said, "Because I'm coming back from Huntsville." And you said, "Where are you?" It turns out we were about to pass the same truck stop. So we just pulled over and met on the side of the road.
Yeah, and I wish we'd have had more time.
I do too. I could have got some of the fried fish and pickled eggs you eat all the time.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get in an enclosed area at that time.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Where are you right now, dude?
I'm in the middle of the place I hate the most.
Oh, wow. Well, at
Downtown.
least you're going 5 miles an hour, and that's just keep it between the lines, dude.
It's reading 0 right now. So.
Oh, wow. All right, man. I got to go read John's grades, but I'll be talking to you tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Like I say, get that box of tissues ready and catch those conservative tears because they're far and few between.
Oh man, I may have to go ahead and take a Valium ahead of time. All right. You have a great night, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
See you, man. The John's got the grades in. The grades say Butters gets, JP and Lee get an A+ for their fantastic performances. Dale Strong gets an A+ for his super strong performance. See what he did there? Which means today's co-winners are Phil and Butters with a perfect A++. Congratulations, by the way, JP. I think Nick Saban is inching closer and closer to that head coaching job at LSU.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure John's got his sources.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
I don't think they have. That'd be pretty.
You think that's like right up there?
Pretty strange.
That's like a Martian landing or something, right?
Is,
okay.
Yeah.
It's Area 51 stuff right there. All right, you guys, listen, great day. Tomorrow is going to be my last day on the air. I am super excited about what God's doing. I will tell you, it's very bittersweet. We love you. We love this audience, and we love the fact that we've had a chance to be with you all these years. I will tell you, like I always tell you, though, hey, there's way more of us than there are them. God is still very much on his throne. Y'all stay in the fight. We'll see you tomorrow.